看一下黄毛这边滚木一滚，哇，还是不行。飓风再一拉，
有一下吗？有一下
到了，但是右路已经开始被大狗喷了。大闪再耗一下血，电法一踩，看一下
直接奶起来了。
奶起来，看一下这个炸弹塔给不给力。古龙有没有一口？
好像不止一口，有好多口，
应该已经过出来了。怎么说？大闪毒药。
哎，恭喜 Ponos。
那4猪，
这牢笼又出来了呀！随便罚，
看一下这边滚筒再一滚，哇，这个 AOE 也是打得很足啊，没有打到13秒，甚至是不用再交这个毒药去耗血了。看一下这个炸弹塔过出来了吗？
好像憋出来了。
对，再交一个滚筒，要意思一下吗？毒药一毒，那么要恭喜到 Yakitori
成功的1穿3了，
顺便帮助队伍以这个2比0赢下了他人啊。这边 nova 应该是要反打一波，看一下情况，没有自毒了，
防守费还是够的。
杨家猎人全部拉到了前面，接了一手冰冻，
很好。
大骷髅会不会往里走？
啊，少一小个。
是的，但是第2波家居进攻来了，
怎么办？
大皮卡憋出来了，
但是牢笼没了，会打
1下2下吗？2下很漂亮，
奶上了。
是的。而这边的话有一个桥头的大骷髅的炸弹，全部炸干净，而且这个青龙很难解，青龙解不掉了，再接一手冰冻，青龙喷塔，恭喜 nova，
恭喜一下 nova， 在2比2当中2比0拿下了这一局，看一下谁的节奏更快。
这个火球怎么砸有点难砸了，这个暗夜女巫进塔了1下。2下，那可能机会就不大了。
这样斩杀了。
对，火球斩杀。
恭喜一下 Red，
他被迫把房子下得非常靠前啊，强扶球。
对，
有没有东西挡？速地一砸，那这个球最少1下，1下。那这一波是 Red 最后的蹦迪，最后的倔强。
还有一个滚木哦，
这个是绝望毒药。恭喜
AU， 也要恭喜 nova， 是今天2比0拿下了整场比赛。
这一波铜骨球、火球但是野猪1下，最后半分钟这边最后2个猪，冰冻马上够费用，这一波怎么解？血滚，看一下左边这个猪没打到，但是地震。震起来了！
恭喜一下 Buff Gaming，
花路要冲起来的话，看一下又跟了古龙，哇，左边怎么办？炸弹兵是炸了1下，矿工这一波是要带走了，还有一个火球斩杀。
恭喜一下 Jack，
在赢下比赛的同时，
恭喜一下 Buff Gaming，
对2比0战胜这个非常强劲的 Kicks。看一下，先被点到的是天狗，然后暗夜女巫2个这个小蝙蝠都没有被跳掉，矿工又挖到了这个火枪，怎么说？要不要憋火球？要不要憋火球？要不要憋火球？
来了，
还是慢了一点。矿工给压力，接一个滚筒，火球一砸早了。那矿工
恭喜一下
Blizzard 也是拖到了最后的1v1，非常小心内侧桶跟外侧桶。这一波是没还是过出来了，而且左边家军1炮2炮，留给他人的时间不多了。5、4、3、2、1，恭喜 TTG！
恭喜！看一下谁的节奏更快。女枪来了。
这个火球怎么砸有点难砸了，这个暗夜女巫进塔了1下、2下，那可能机会就不大了。
天狗的一个优势还是非常大的。
是的，还建设到了1下，那2下，
大将斩杀了。
对，火球斩杀。
恭喜一下 Red。
就这个迫击炮拉了球之后，想要解掉球还是比较难的，尤其是有这个
这波感觉有点难解。哎，这个团伙怎么下在脸上？
是气球，哇，还撞到了1下。 这边
而且火枪跟骑士也受到了一个广域伤害。 沙朵防守炮下不下？沙朵有点卡费，还是？
对他这个炮也不敢先交。看一下，这边羊跳左边了，炮一立，往中间一拉，但是这个后排
哇，这个炮是在锁炮。
对，而且这个还有一个绿色的东西，这个绿色东西会很厉害。
炮车锁塔了，这一波能直接打死。
3下、4下、5下、6下、7下。
心疼矿工5秒钟啊！劳模挖全场，
渔夫挡住了，再挡一个骑士，看吸谁？
这波手上是有大电。
闪避雷吗？没避到，差一点得接滚木啊！雪球一砸，滚木一交，看一下这个家居，第2炮，这个狙解不掉了。
这个狙可以，
这个狙已经解不掉了。
就刚刚那个第1个狙。
是的，那么恭喜到 Five Gaming 这边赢下了第1局。
矿工其实是看矿工的一个发挥
直接跟暗夜女巫也是没什么问题。看一下，先被点到的是天狗，然后暗夜女巫2个这个小蝙蝠都没有被跳掉，矿工又挖到了这个火枪，怎么说？要不要憋火球？要不要憋火球？要不要憋火球？
来了，火球
还是慢了一点，像桥头吗？矿工给压力，接一个滚筒，火球一砸早了，那矿工
恭喜一下
Lisa。
Welcome to Clan Wars 2! Your journey begins here. And what the?
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt
as I was saying... Oh, wait! Hello? Everyone seems to have left. The king should never row himself. I'll just wait here, so send someone to get me.
这里要想稳步斩杀吗？还是直接血球预判吗？
恭喜一下 Nova。
마법들도 있고요. 파이어볼만 돌아갑니다. 네, 마무리됐습니다.
Still, the baby dragons are alive, and that 3 round roller.
他这个套式就进来了。
好，拿到了3星。
恭喜 TDG 啊！
この回して KK 選手勝ち切りました。
Be careful, but still, Cannon.
再加一个滚末，斩杀了。
恭喜一下 WEGM。
2, and that's it. 3-0 Grand Finals. Bob is your Clash Royale League East champion. Nova Esports.
타이밍간의 경기는 저의 탈론이었다.
TTG.
コースとなりました。
Kicks against Game W.
優勝はハブゲーミング。
クラロワリーグイストもうワンサイズ長寿祭バイシーズン頑張ります。フォーシーズングイスト頑張ります。
ファイティング。
Welcome everyone to Clash Royale League East. My name is Simon, with me is G-Clef, and we are in the final week of the regular season, and so much can happen today. G-Clef, team timing can go out today if they end up losing this first game.
Oh yes, big day for team timing.
Huge day. There are so many different permutations of this league, because with Ponos basically running away with it in first place, it's left a huge congestion in the middle. Quite a few teams can still go out, even though they're currently sitting at like 5th.
And also that's sort of the same, the clump for the second place spot. That's also going to be in effect for, I believe, Kicks, WEDGM, and also Nova.
Kicks can actually not make it. There is a possibility of Kicks.
Kicks, they need to win all 3.
They're 4th.
They
have a possibility of finishing 7th and dropping out.
Oh, that too.
Like, the possibilities are endless. Between 4th and 8th, that can completely change by the end of this weekend. Remember, 7th and 8th will be eliminated from the competition. First, second, go straight through to basically the semi-finals. And everyone else has to battle again to try and get to that point and to qualify. So it's going to be absolutely insane. These teams have everything to fight for.
Yes, and you see the popular cards. We won't see that lady on the left anymore. Not anymore, but a lot less.
Well, those top 3 cards there have all had slight changes. So we'll see if that continues. Their use rates continue to be insanely high. And here we have the current standings. Ponos qualified. They're already going to Worlds.
They're gone.
They can all take a nice little break if they feel like. Then Nova, WEDGM, Kicks, Bob, Talon. So Nova, WEDGM, and Kicks, they can all finish second and get that second automatic spot. And then everyone else is fighting for the rest of the spots to get into the playoffs for a chance to go to Worlds.
And we're talking chances because it is the last weekend of the regular season with one more day. We usually don't have broadcast on Friday.
Yeah.
We're here because we have 2 more matches. Just 2 matches today. Tomorrow and Sunday back to normal 3 matches. But that's the reason why we have 2 more matches, giving us a lot more chances of going up and down. So it's going to be wild. And the teams, before going into that best of 5, I think this is their last try of pulling out your best duo, best King of the Hill roster, best 1v1 player. I think we can get a lot of hints of who they're actually going to use in what order in that playoff just from this weekend.
Yeah, they have so many of these teams have to bring their A game now.
Mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, these are probably the setups we're expecting to see once we get into the playoffs from all of these teams, the exception being maybe Ponos.
Maybe Ponos, as even last week, they only had KK, not Mugi play, which was a bit of a surprise. And after that moment, I'm guessing they might just keep on using their sort of their second number 2 squad instead of number 1.
Yeah, and first up today, Team Timing versus Kicks. Team Timing had an incredible start to this season. They were so strong. And then it's all tailed off. They've only got 1 win in the second half of the season. That's 4 losses. So they really need this win against a Kicks team who also need to win. If they lose all 3 matches this weekend, Kicks can finish 7th. It is a real possibility.
But I think when that happens, we go down to the set differential, and we'll have to see a lot of those numbers. It's not head-to-head first anymore after the match. It is match first, set, games, crown count, and then head-to-head.
But Kicks' set and game differentials are not good. They're not great, and there is even a chance that they could drop. Even losing 3 in the tightest of ways, they could still drop. Anyway, Team Timing throwing out Haruki and Nuri in this 2v2. Together, they are 2-1 and 2-0 this second half of the season.
Yes.
And did I get that right? There's the light.
I think there was, yeah, and then Ice Law, right?
I think it was Yuya.
I was talking about the team so much.
Well, Bankart, Freeze, and Graveyard. Yeah, it is Light and Yuya. Okay, that's an interesting pairing coming out for the first time this season. I think that's Yuya's... Yeah, that's Yuya's first 2v2 too, so that's going to be a super interesting trial by fire to throw Yuya in this 2v2. Does that mean we're going to get Ice Law in the 1v1?
I think that's what it's supposed to be lined up for. As Kicks, they needed a big change in King of the Hill roster where they were having lots of disappointing results throughout the season. It is time for them to actually put in Ice Law. I think that's exactly the reason why we have Yuya for that 2v2. But it is a new duo that they have not tried before. Let's see how it's going to work out for Kicks team.
Here we go. Kicks are in red at the top, and then Team Timing in blue at the bottom. Team Timing fighting for their tournament survival. Kicks fighting to try and get the best position possible and hopefully avoid narrowly missing those playoff spots.
Kicks, just like last week, trying the wall breaker 2v2 deck again. Last time it did not succeed, not end up getting too much done. But with that Graveyard ban, I think they can do a lot more with the Miner.
Yeah, the Miner is just in range of the bomb tower there, but still a little bit of damage. How are they going to stop a Lava Hound push? They do have the Ice Wizard, but he's going to be very far forward by the time this crosses the bridge.
So with Tornado being available, can give some time, and Ice Wizard just being able to do some more because the Mega Knight came down.
It's not really getting a lot. Tornado Rocket comes in, but they don't have anything.
Baby Dragon though.
Yeah,
and the Princess locks onto the Baby Dragon that missed. Ouch.
Absolutely amazing push there for Team Timing right now. Can they continue to build from this? One Spear Goblin Matrix dived underneath the log there and survived just a little bit longer to get a little bit of damage in. But this is a huge mountain to climb for Kicks, Light, and Yuya. I mean, the Rocket was a good play. It was probably their only play. But they had nothing to clean up the pups.
Especially with incoming Lightning in the later part of the game. Team Timing, they basically have the tower down. So Kicks, they need to find holes, but against the building, and plus this many units in the air, it's going to be very tough. So I think Kicks, they have to force a big mistake out of Team Timing.
But even a big mistake is a lot to ask. 6-3-4 and another lightning comes down. It's over in 2 more spells or a little bit of a connection into the tower. There's a good rocket coming in. Mega Knight does jump into the guards and is quickly dealt with. There's just too much here. I don't think Kicks have got a chance. They got 30 seconds to try and get something done. But that something is just looking more and more impossible as the seconds tick down.
Only 20 seconds left, and TT, I think they're looking to finish it with just the spells. They do have Fireball locked and ready to go. And unless that Mega Knight gets a jump, even Rocket will not be enough. Wallbreaker actually connected.
Oh, 93
right?
left. They might be able to get this. It's going to be... Oh, my...
Just enough in time. We do go into overtime with that incoming log plus everything that they had for both teams.
That Wallbreaker getting a connection was huge right there and saving Kicks as we go into the overtime. They couldn't have left it any later than that. And Team Timing couldn't have left it any later to finish that tower either. What a spectacular finish to that first part of the game. But now we're down to these last 2 towers.
Bringing a lot of the troops together. Still the double baby dragon are there, right behind the pubs. This time not locked with the Princess Tower, so it's going to be easier to defend for Kicks.
Love to get rid of those Spirit Goblins. So now every hit matters more than most because we're most likely going down to that sudden death timer where the towers will tick down. So can Kicks get enough damage done? That's going to be the question. There's a good Fireball Tornado to clean up. Team Timing have a pretty sizable advantage going into the last 45-ish seconds. Now Kicks have to turn the screw. They have to throw everything they have, everything they possibly can at this tower if they're going to get it. But the Lava Hound is going to tank up most of the units that can hit upwards.
And Wallbreaker does not get through that bomb tower. Lava broken on top, but still Kicks. They are doing some damage, but not enough. They need to finish up with the rocket. And that's going to be painful with 20 seconds left. TT also loading their lightning if they have any chance.
Double miner is a good idea here for Kicks. They might be able to get some tower damage in here. We're down to the last 10 seconds. We're expecting Fireball. There's a rocket. Lightning should come down in a second for Team Timing to try and get this sorted. And that is that. Team Timing take a very dramatic first game win in this 2v2 set.
Had to line everything down with spell, fireball, even the final lightning was sort of waiting for the perfect time just in case it is blocked by anything else. But still the tower had a lot of HP, about 1,000, so I don't think they were worried too much about that. And reading perfectly there, rocket has to come down in the final few seconds, so we have to put in extra fireball. So good read at the end. Team Timing, overall they did continue to have the lead with a enormous push to begin with their baby dragon and the lava pups.
But the question for Team Timing has to be, should that game have gone that far? They were in a commanding lead in regular time. Look at this, 980 versus 106. You gotta rate their defenses here. If their defenses were better, we would not have gone that far into this game.
Yeah, that late fireball, a panic fireball.
And that
to be honest there.
That log half a second slower would have sealed it for Kicks. But as soon as it gets down to the overtime, 2-tower situation, it was always going to be Team Timing, I think.
With more spell damage and also not the pups as much in the second tower, but especially for the first towers, the pups actually did a lot of damage. Yeah. And the baby dragons were actually not being caught as well in the tornado. They were surviving. That gave some more elixir lead to Team Timing all the time when they had the push. So for Kicks team, when they wanted to have that wall breakers connect, they did succeed this time, but still they were looking for at least a few more.
I mean, if I was the coach of Team Timing, they have called a timeout, and I think that's 100% necessary because they should not have lost that tower. They got a huge push early on with that Lava Hound push, where all the pups, they had no way of dealing. Kicks had no way of dealing with those pups. And they got the tower down to like 600. I mean, when you're that far ahead at that point in the game, all you got to do is shut up shop. It was against wall breakers. They could have defended that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That wall breakers, they had the guard placed right in the middle to get the jump away from the Mega Knight, and then wall breakers just made a free entry. And 2 defensive tools, I believe 1 Mega Minion in the air and Fisherman that just came down. So that was just not enough. And sometimes they do target the same if the Fisherman gets the first hit. So I think the remaining one just got a free entry.
It's just...
Well, it is what it is. Still, they were able to win, not a loss.
They were able to win. That's a huge positive to take. But the fact that it got that far should concern Team Timing going into Game 2 of this 2v2. It is going to be Nuri and Haruki against Light and Yuya. Game 2 of this first set is coming up real soon.
And Wallbreaker deck, do you think it's still a very viable deck in this meta right now when there's Tornado, so many spells, at least a building? And usually Cage takes care of most of it, or most of them.
It's a very risky kind of deck to play. You're hoping just to outplay your opponent beginning to end, I guess. Because for something like a Lava Hound, you have so many units that shoot up. You have the Spear Goblins and all that kind of stuff. What that means is all that is going to just slow to a grinding halt as it's attacking that Lava Hound. Then sure, you might be able to sneak a Miner in the back on Wall Breakers, but you're hoping your opponent doesn't have something like Cage, which is prevalent in so many decks. Bomb Tower that is prevalent everywhere in 2v2. Inferno Tower occasionally appears too. You are hoping your opponent doesn't have the tools to answer it, and I don't feel that's the best way to approach a 2v2 game.
And the cycle is indeed very cheap for the Wall Breakers deck, so your best hope is that if you're facing a very heavy deck, and when you're cycling through Miner and Wall Breakers, sometimes they might not have building because it's just heavier. Kick's team so far, including last week, was not really able to bring that win. Now what do they have? They just go back to the regular RG. Graveyard is the ban and also the freeze. So those Graveyard combination with RG combined with Balloon, those win conditions are gone.
Balloon, not necessarily. Balloon could still be in play. Even if freeze is out, it is still possible to get stuff done in 2v2 with a Balloon. So it really depends what they have surrounding these Heal Spirits. I'm gonna say it's most likely going to be RG.
Yeah, just Giant Skeleton RG.
I don't think we're gonna see Ram Rider because Ram Rider is usually the counter people bring against the Balloon. But I could be proven wrong. It could definitely be Ram Rider. I mean, with one card from each side, it could be anything.
Yeah, just the Heal Spirit doesn't really give us too much.
Especially as Light and Yuya have never played 2v2, it's really hard to look historically and try to figure out what they're bringing.
And also with that freeze ban, even if you bring the Balloon, I think you're relying a lot on the other spells, like maybe even Zap.
Could be Lava Hound from Nuri and Haruki. There we go. Lava Hound it is.
Maybe it's time with Lava with Balloon. Last time it was just the double Lava.
I think it's going back to the same deck because they played it last time. I think they were out as well. So it might just be the same deck as we get in. There's the Baby Dragon. How are they going to handle these Royal Recruits? Lightning comes down. That Ram Rider is chewed up. And it is going to be Ram Rider from Kicks. And it's gonna, no, just fall shy of getting into that tower. So the opening exchange, not much done, just spell damage getting in for Team Timing, and Kicks not even getting a proper sniff into those towers.
And not much being done again. The Recruits and the Ram Rider does not connect again. This Magic Archer not in range with the Princess Tower.
Yeah, somehow just avoiding the Princess Tower. Lock on there.
We'll get some damage done, but of course more done by Team Timing on the top right. Again, the Ram Rider push with the shields, and they are coming through. The heal is good.
But it's only going to be small hits, no charge hit in there. Light Ewis comes down, I think,
little too early.
Yeah, a little bit too
Does
early
not
there.
give the damage into the pups.
Slight mistake coming down from Kicks. Not really punished too hard for it though. 1761 on that tower. And Kicks are playing this as they should. They're putting a lot of pressure on the left just to try and split the elixir of Team Timing, making sure that they cannot make an overwhelming Lava Hound push. That is very, very possible with this current deck interactions they have.
That's exactly what they need, and Rem is being used to slow down that Lava Hound and to do some more damage to the Baby Dragon that's been harassing them throughout this entire match.
Delivery changes a lot of interactions with the Lava Hound as it can kill all the pups immediately, but the timing needs to be almost perfect. So they have two good tools against the pups once they pop out, the E-Wiz and the delivery, but the E-Wiz just lightning off the board.
Recruits now 2-4 split towards the right, and then Rem again on the left. They're ready with that bomb tower, and the Magic Archer has been okay, but not enough to do enough work. Like, this tower is going down. The Mega Minion gets a hit. That's a big.
And another lightning. This is a rather large ball coming across the river for Kicks down that right-hand side. And I mean, the right has taken quite a bit of damage too. This might just be the tower. There it goes. That was an incredibly large just ball of recruits.
Way too many recruits, and they forced the log on the left because of that Ram coming down immediately, along with that Magic Archer right behind that Ram Rider. So in this case, a great decision, splitting all the time. And Team Timing, they sort of did lack in spell choice.
Yeah, the lightning, it worked game one, but this time they just couldn't really, there wasn't many targets they could aim for as high value as they were in the last game. The recruits coming in and the pressure on the left, sneaking recruits in on the right, that is the recruit dream right there. Split them, make sure they pressure both lanes, because it is so hard, even in 2v2, to correctly defend so much pressure coming down on both lanes.
And one card we didn't mention too much, but I think the Magic Archer from Kicks actually did so much.
Double recruits at the bridge. How would you deal with that? There's the Baby Dragon.
Yeah, because the bomb tower just went down. He had enough elixirs.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the damage output there from the Royal recruits. Absolutely insane. How would you deal with that if you do use that log on that side?
Remember the card? Remember a card that's been buffed millions of times? Bomber.
Come on, man. I was looking for real suggestions. I
It's
wasn't
the
looking
way
for
to
a
go.
bomber.
But the graveyard is banned, so maybe we have some less chance of using bomber, you know? Just in case
How can you have less than 0% chance of using bomber? You know what would have helped?
Bowler.
It's one of those, I wasn't going to say bowler, I was going to say wizard. Like, I've seen a lot of talk, because of the Musketeer nerf, there has been talk around quite a few pros.
Who?
About the wizard. No. About the wizard.
Name those pros. I'm going to unfollow them.
But the discussion is, basically, the wizard isn't terrible. It's just bad.
I know.
Like,
it's not terrible. I mean,
it has great interactions with certain things, but if your opponent doesn't bring those things, you're out for pasture. You have nothing really to, throw down. If they're going minion horde, the Royal recruits, the double Royal recruits, wizard would have been fantastic. If they went for anything else and they didn't decide to throw down the double recruits, you'd have been, down the paddle down the creek without a paddle,
Yeah, wizard. He's a very spiky person, not like a roundy person that hangs around with everyone. Very spiky person that doesn't really have too many friends, Just has way too many counters. Like the Bandit is another counter. Like even against lots of single target, which in the meta right now, that's the reason why we see lots of lightning coming into 2v2. Against like against some hordes, Goblin Gang, those troop cards, great of course, great. But has those specific counters. There is a reason why it's not being played.
There may come a day where the meta shifts in the right way for Wizard to
And we
become
see
super
pumps
popular.
all the time, Wizard all the time, Bowler all the time.
But it was floated around as a Musketeer replacement. But then, you know,
Maybe. I mean, I still think Dark Goblin is a lot better than Wizard. It's cheaper to cycle, it does a lot more damage, faster attack speed against Graveyard. Come on.
there's no need to think. It's an objective. It's subjective. Like,
And
everyone
it's
knows that.
And Dark Goblin emote is one of the best. Makes one of the most annoying sound in the game.
In
You just
2v2.
repeat that all the time.
Yeah, in 2v2 where you play off each other, you can almost get it permanently going just to annoy your opponents. All right, we're going to get into game 3 here. Are we going to see Lava Hound again here from Team Timing, or do you think they'll switch it up for game 3? There's not many options with Graveyard.
Reverse psychology, man. And this is the time you bring what you practice for the entire week.
Well,
So you stay Lava.
But you wouldn't have, yeah, all right. I thought you were going to say they were going to bring something else. Not
So
just
you
what they
stay
practice.
Lava, but with some different spells and maybe a balloon or maybe a little bit mix of Miner in there. Because
Lava
so
Miner
far
could work.
Lava was the only tool without their Miner. And Miner can be an okay option as they were sort of lacking the defensive ground defense, only some guards. And did you see anything else?
No, do you think
Bomb tower guards. That was about
Do you
it.
think Timing would replace the Lightning in that deck?
Into what? Into something like a Fireball? They had a Fireball just now with Fireball, Log, and Lightning. Maybe one more.
Maybe go for something a little lighter. I know you want the
Zap?
reset, but
Or Zap or the Electro Spirit.
not in the game right now.
Card
Alright,
number 101.
card number 100, the Electro Giant and the Electro Spirit are not available.
Yeah, the Spirit
now.
is totally not available.
Yeah, so they're not available
It's
to play
coming
now, so
soon.
we're not going to see Electro Giants. We're not going to see Electro Spirits because they're not out, so...
Maybe the Giants will be available in playoff because we do take a week break and then we come after.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Because it's after their release. I don't think we'll see it in CRL East.
Maybe in the West when
West
West
should.
goes into playoff or the month after should they they
They'll
should
be available
they should.
in November.
But right now maybe it's not gonna be played as much. That's what I felt. First I thought it was totally broken. I was like, whoa.
And then you
everyone's gonna
realized it
use
was
like
broken.
this meta is going to be broken. No one's gonna use Golem anymore. It's just gonna be Giants all over. And then I go into challenge to get some wins. And then now I'm just feeling, whoa, I think we're getting some word from the production right now. What is it, Simon? Can you get an update?
There seems to be a slight issue with Kix's internet. So they're going to try to get that fixed as soon as possible. They have a 10-minute timer.
Yeah, that's the regulation.
Yep, they have 10 minutes, and if they can't get it fixed, it's a game loss.
Yes.
So that would hand it over to Team Timing.
It just
And I
has to be dramatic, you know?
I know Team Timing really do need this win. I'm not even putting this gonna play this lightly. If they lose, they're out. They have to win both games to have a chance of surviving. It's not even guaranteed. It is a chance. They have to have other results go their way in order to survive. They have to win all 2 remaining games for a small chance to qualify. That's what we got officially here. I worked it out. The other results need to go completely in their
But
favor.
Kicks, they have a lot of chance actually going into playoff. Unless they lose all 3.
Kicks.
Yeah,
Kicks
Kicks. I
have
thought you were talking
No,
Kicks.
I was talking about Team Timing. Team Timing have a very small chance. They need to win to even have a possibility.
They need to win everything, basically. That's what it comes down to.
They need to win everything and results to go their way. If results don't go their way, they're out.
And as we have some time for Kicks, if they win all 3, and after the result of one other match, that's I think maybe Fa versus Nova.
It is Talon versus Nova.
And
oh no, wait.
If Nova loses, If Nova loses that match, then Kicks will go up to second.
If Nova loses to WEDGM and Kicks win all 3, Kicks finish second and guarantee a place to Worlds.
That's big.
That's
totally
huge.
big. Totally big. But, you know, winning all 3 plus a condition on top of that.
I just want to point out, WEDGM, when we jumped into this second half of the season, they were bottom.
Yeah, they were 7th place.
Now?
Or 8th place to begin.
Now, they're like 3rd. What a turnaround for that team. An absolute turnaround. They managed to get some results put down. They managed to push through, get up there. And I mean, they're making life super difficult for Kicks right now to qualify into that automatic spot.
Yeah, of course we don't have WDGM's match today.
No,
but
just
they
timing.
Will be playing.
Kicks, timing, and
Ponos
then Ponos Fav. Fav need to win one more match and they'll qualify, I believe. So I need to double check that. I think it is one more. And they had a turnaround as well because they were down at the bottom.
And Fav, they can't go into second, I believe. They can't go into the second place.
No.
So all they can do is maybe just win a couple of matches and they will be good for playoff.
It's just hoping for playoffs. But this Kicks versus Team Timing 2v2. As I said, game 1, Team Timing should have had that wrapped up well before.
Yeah, before the wall breaker connection.
Yeah, they should have had it wrapped up. Then game 2, Kicks kind of got things going a lot better. They managed to just like put down their units. They just controlled. That was deserved as well. Game 3, if it goes the same way, like the same style of play, Kicks, I think, have the 2v2 set because they look super strong. Team Timing really do need a complete overhaul of how they're approaching this 2v2 match to stand a chance. I feel.
I feel sort of the same, but a little different in terms of teamwork. Light and Yuya, they are surprising me of how good of a duo they are in just from practice on stage right now. But Team Timing, it feels like they have literally put everything into this match. Of course, they have to in order to go into playoff, but only specifically against the Lava. And when that's that can be an issue for Team Timing because Kicks, the first thing before going into the third match, of course, when they get the connection back, will be against the Lava. I think that's literally what they have practiced within the entire week.
I mean, Graveyard Freeze getting banned. There isn't much. There aren't many other options. There is RG.
RG is the most common. And Ram, we've just seen it. And there are some more. Expo.
That
potential.
actually would have worked. That actually would have won Kicks
because
the game.
Without Graveyard, you would feel a lot more lava-ish.
Well, that's the thing. With the lava coming out in so many games, yeah, Expo would have won those. Easy, hands down. Double Expo is just super good against Lava Hound in 2v2. It's scary how good it is.
Yes, the Tesla is a pretty good building card. Sometimes because it's just a little smaller, it doesn't get the right drag sometimes, and because it goes in until something gets into range. Has been my problem using Tesla.
I mean, Tesla's. I never use it. I know it's a good thing, but it's not.
Any update? We never.
Nope.
This is actually the first time we are running into any sort of online issue this season. That's
one of the members is having issues with their Wi-Fi, and they're trying to fix the lag. So if they were lagging in game 2, it didn't show.
Not at all, and they were able to win with no issue.
What if it was 1 versus 2, but you get 2 people's elixir?
Whoa. Then we're talking different. But you still do not have the variety of cards. But if you get to control 16 cards, and you actually have 8 cards in your hand, then it's a different story. Okay, Simon, read me the update. Yes. Without the updates, we'll just be sitting here with our faces on and saying, what's going on?
All right, according to the rules, if they don't get it fixed, they will lose the set.
2v2.
But because they have 1 game, it will be considered a 2-1 loss, not a 2-0 loss,
Yes.
as it could be depending on your rulings. If it's an automatic forfeiture, usually is like a 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0 if you like don't show up for the match, or because even if you have disconnect within the game, it will still just count as a game loss. But 10 minutes is the rule since we are having this tournament online, most of it online. Of course, the Chinese players being off at the offline stage.
Okay. Light is back in the game. We're ready to go. We're going to get sorted.
Sorry, guys, you have to see our faces. For
it's horrible.
I know how it feels. I know how it feels every single morning. As you do too.
Yeah, it's horrifying. Looking in the mirror, it's one of the most traumatic experiences I have every day. But you know what isn't traumatic?
We're back.
This 2v2 coming back.
I'm so happy.
Yuya and Light versus Nuri and Haruki. And it looks like Light and Yuya are deciding to go back to game 1 and bringing that Wallbreaker deck in 2v2.
Wallbreaker deck. And a Valkyrie, still a Valkyrie when the graveyard is off. So that's a little surprising, but still the lava comes down for team timing. Get some, with some different combination as you can see from the Valkyrie now.
So have Light and Yuya learn their lesson? Do they know what they need to do in order to get this win? We'll find out. Down. Oh, protecting the Musketeer with the Mega Knight.
And
absolutely phenomenal.
Nice. They dropped the Ice Wizard later, right after the lightning, so it actually survives. That was one of the two. One of the anti-air defense that Kix needed desperately in game 1.
Unfortunately, there are just too many ways that team timing can stop these wall breakers.
Yeah, that Mega Minion did nothing. Still with Tornado. But this Musketeer is doing a lot of elixir work now, connecting to tower. Second, third shot.
It's going to keep going too, isn't it?
Just went down against the skeletons, I think. Oh,
it was against the Baby Dragon. It was against the Baby Dragon. But yeah, those wall breakers connecting is absolutely massive here.
Yeah, forced out so many defensive cards. This all happened from blocking that lightning into the Musketeer. A big snowball for Kix.
Just forced out so much elixir for no payoff whatsoever for team timing. Baby Dragon did manage to get down the Musketeer, but at what cost? It cost so much. They threw in Mega Minions and everything else. So let's see. Can Kix finish this push? It looks like it's going to be a tower trade situation. How can Kix defend this? There's the bomb tower to just distract everything. Big rocket coming in. Mega Minion is there. Baby Dragon is there for team timing.
And Rocket, after that fireball, connects literally right after into all the lava and the Baby Dragon.
That defense, there was so much elixir crossing over for team time, pressuring down on that tower, and they only took 200, 300 damage. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter as long as you defend for the next 10 seconds. Kix, they will win that 2v2, and team timing again not being able to grab the first win.
Well,
got to hurt for team timing as they do have a few stars for King of the Hill.
Yep. I was getting really confused then.
I was about to say.
Zooming in on team timing and Kix
won
won
it. That was the last goodbye. That was the last kiss saying goodbye to the team. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, Kix taking a very commanding victory with this one. Game 2 and Game 3 were very different from Game 1. Game 1 was very shaky from Light and Yuya. Remember, it is their first time coming out in 2v2. And it was a very shaky start to the set. But Game 2, Game 3, things seemed to settle down and they controlled this one absolutely. Just look how long everything survives here. They have no elixir. Team Time just had nothing left. Wall breakers connecting through, and I mean, that was that. They tried to go for this tower trade situation. Rocket, Fireball comes out as well. You have Mega Minion. They just had so many tools just to clean it up. And yeah, it seems they did learn their lesson from game 1.
And exactly when you have to push with the wall breakers, you know the Elixir's defensive units are coming down a little slow. Of course, they're pros in 2v2. They can have the Elixir read pretty easily, and just send those wall breakers, see if it connects, and it did, both of them.
Yep. Set 2 is coming up. King of the Hill. Sado Nuri 100% in for team timing because they're always 100% in.
Is it
Greed or Haruki?
Haruki?
I mean, 0% win rates. Let me just double check.
Maybe it comes down to the rock, paper, scissors between the two members.
I mean, that would be the only way to decide, but it is not looking good for team timing. Their results in this King of the Hill are not great at all. There are so many L's down this list. Creed, 0% win rate in King of the Hill. Haruki, 0% win rate in King of the Hill. Sado, lost 1-1, lost 1 in most of his last few games. And you got Nuri, who is on a 4-loss win streak. It is not looking good for the blue team here. But on the right, I mean, it's not exactly fantastic. They got results. Light is doing really well.
Okay, Greed.
Benzer is doing well, and it is going to be Ice-Law. Okay. So, Kicks, I think, have a slight swing in terms of King of the Hill, but even their record so far is not that great. Looking at Light's last couple of games, win 1, lose 1. Benzer again, a couple of wins. Getting to see Ice-Law for only the 3rd time this season. In King of the Hill, lost to Geralt in the first half of the season and lost to Elsiop in the second. What is he going to bring out today?
I mean, first week after the patch, it's a chaos. It's usually a chaos of where a lot of the players will try to have different types of decks. As we do see a lot less use in Musketeer. We're switching, and I've seen a lot of decks using Magic Archer.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of back.
Yeah, because of lower use of Musketeer, I think a lot of pros are trying to sneak in that Magic Archer for another good tool, forcing out a Fireball from the opponents. We'll see what these two will bring to the stage today.
So here we go. Ice-Law versus Greed. One of these players has to get a win, their first win of the season after this in King of the Hill.
Spirit.
Which one is it going to be?
And we've said it over and over. When early meta, first week, building cards, and lots of arrows. Bowler. Maybe Bowler Splash, Bowler Hog.
Yep. Bowler Graveyard. With the Valkyrie though, I'm gonna say Hog Rider?
Yeah, there are lots of Valkyrie decks with the Hog Rider now. Some with Executioner even.
So there's an E-Wiz. Kind of know what Ice-Law wants to see, because resetting that Expo can prove super helpful when you get the aggressive ones going. There's the aggressive Expo coming down. There's an Inferno Dragon. It is locked on the night.
Yeah.
And that Expo gets
skeletons.
A huge connection.
Freeze! This is exactly what Greed did not want to use. So guessing it's just a Graveyard Tornado. With the freeze, he might not even have Tornado here.
Yeah. Freeze was supposed to be the last card played. You're supposed to try and trick your opponent with that. But throwing it down on the defense there against an Expo, that's bad news bears for Greed.
Now Ice-Law, he will put lots of different cards away from each other. Social distancing.
I mean, he doesn't need to do it right now because it's out of cycle, but yeah.
Yeah, and before double elixir, you can't really pair up that many. Greed is looking to have some E-Wiz, even Inferno, along with that Bowler. But because of that, Ice-Law has to put lots of defensive Expos.
Doesn't have that much to deal with this Inferno Dragon. Ice Spirit is going to be there. One Archer. There's the Tesla. Okay, it's going to be nicely dealt with this time round with the defensive. Oh, Icelor decides to go down the opposite side. It is going to lock onto that Ice Wizard, though. Freeze comes in. That's going to lock both Expos down for just a few seconds.
Yeah, right after the freeze, catches onto the bowler, but what a fireball! Tornado just for the damage.
You don't see that very much, do you? A tornado to try and take out the Expos.
Only towards the final few seconds to do some more power damage.
So Icelor carries a couple hundred advantage going into sudden death period.
Now this is exciting. We're back to like 2018.
I mean, you gotta give it here to Icelor, right? It has to be on the Expo.
Greed can actually get the push. It depends how and where the Expo is being played by Icelor. And oftentimes Greed has to respond.
See, this is smart. Icelor knows that Greed does not have any big spells to chip down these towers. He can hold on to the advantage he has and fireball anytime Greed tries to get a little bit cute with his plays.
Yeah, that's a big freeze. One defensive log though, that's all good enough. And forcing the Grave Tower to be on the right because left side it's with nothing else. Now switching side because Icelor has actually done more on the left.
Icelor's just going to run down the clock. He doesn't need to panic. He doesn't need to pressure too hard. He has an advantage. His opponent has no big damage spells. Icelor has Fireball himself. He can control the end of this, but this graveyard needs to be good for Greed. There's the freeze.
Yep.
Lock comes down, but Archers unfrozen at the back are going to help clean up. And I mean, carrying a 300 damage advantage going into the last 30 seconds with Expo. It's looking good for Icelor to get his first win in King of the Hill this season.
Yeah, even with this bowler, the freeze has to come down. It's just way too much damage at the bridge. Tesla Knight Archers can't take all that. Barely connects into the Valkyrie. Yeah, Greed is falling behind here. As the Expo now connects, that's game for Icelor.
Icelor takes a very nice Game 1 victory here in the first game of King of the Hill. Can he bring it home for kicks? We'll find out soon. Greed may just finish the season with a 0% win rate.
That's a big disgrace for him and the team. But the matchups were oftentimes very hard throughout the season, and also in this case when Icelor is playing this well, making the right shift at the right time, going left and right, and Greed just has to follow, or else the Expo directly connects. There's nothing else that he could do, and this is a pretty heavy style of the graveyard that we did not see at all this season.
Yeah, the E-Wiz would have been great to retarget those Expos, but the problem is, like, just getting the bodies down for Greed is just, as you said, just so expensive, and then fireballs can come out like that and just ruin your day.
Yeah, you would say, why is Greed placing everything like that so Fireball can take everything out? When you place the bowler, you do have to sort of think as a magic archer, trying to get the most damage with a bowl every single time. And that's the reason why Greed waited for everything to be placed before that Expo connects into the bowler. Hard matchup though, and I'm expecting, especially this weekend, to see at least a few more Expo, and especially 1v1.
I think maybe today. I don't think we're going to see it for the rest of the weekend, though. Because I think teams have probably by now figured out, like, what they're going to do.
At least a couple.
Especially, like, for Kicks and the teams playing today, they've had a very short time with this balance update. A very short time. A day extra, a day or two extra, I think we'll see a lot more different things develop. And then we take a week off.
Yes, a week off, and then we come back in 2 weeks for the playoff. Then it'll be the meta.
It'll be
the meta
more
will
developed.
form. Yeah, it will basically form something else. I don't think it's going to move too far away from what we had before. but because of that Musketeer, we'll see some variety of choices, like some players liking the Archer more, Dark Goblin more, Magic Archer more.
All right, it is gonna be Sado coming out here. Quick fact for the end of the season, Sado plays Graveyard 77% of the time in 1v1. That's 21 times out of 27 matches. The other times he has bought like Goblin Giant Sparky, bought an RG once or twice. He doesn't have much variety this season.
Yeah. We'll be waiting for more of those fact check by Simon.
Oh, please don't put that kind of pressure on me.
Loving the update every single week.
Oh wait, I think I missed one Graveyard game, so that might be a little bit higher. I think it's 22 out of 7.
Okay, let's throw that fact check out the window. It's all manual, guys. I mean,
It is.
it's all manual decks written on the sheet of paper in 2020.
Look, man, it helps me memorize these decks, all right? It helps me memorize. I mean, Sado hasn't made it difficult to memorize because it's Graveyard, Cannon Card, Mortar, Musketeer, Knight, Bats or Skeletons, Roll Delivery, Arrows or Poison.
And the thing is, he wins more.
He has played it so many times. And people were saying on Twitter last week, Sado could have, Peas could have beat Sado because 80% of the time he plays Cannon Card Graveyard
He'll still
deck.
be ready with
Golem
against
would have
Golem
beat
decks. He'll still be ready. I believe in Sado. But Ice Law at the same time as we have game 2 underway. I'm feeling Ice Law to have a pretty big day today.
Just gets the sweep.
Expo. Never mind.
For G-Cliff, he could be using Heal Spirit.
Oh, the Heal Spirit doesn't go with Expo. Yeah, right.
Maybe it does. Maybe
Only if it heals buildings, yes.
maybe Iceler has figured something out. No, it definitely is not going to be that.
The Cage is a great building. And with those 3 cards, I think RG highest chance. And hold on a second with the Mega Minion.
Replacing the Musketeer, most likely.
Yeah, but there has been some, not too many, but some Mega Minions when you have the Graveyard too. But Cage has been paired a lot more with the RG. It's usually a lot more common to have the Bomb Tower. With the Baby Dragon, I think we're just back to the Skeletons, man.
By Skeletons, you mean Graveyard.
Yeah, lots of Skeletons.
Sado has not played any kind of Ram Rider, Hog Rider, Royal Hogs this season in 1v1. So this is the first time we get to see something a little bit spammy from Sado.
There's also a Lumberjack RG deck.
We'll see what that Lumberjack is paired with very soon. Icelar will probably start trying to pull that trigger once we get into that double elixir period.
Saw the pretty heavy Ram Rider deck pulling through, keeping that bowler alive.
Just in time on the Baby Dragon there. It could have been very dangerous. That Inferno Dragon connecting would have been very bad for Icelore. But a Ram Rider connection getting through there. And that's a lot of damage to take.
Especially because Sado is going to get a lot done after double elixir time, but depends on the timing when Ice Law is going to show that win condition. Because without the win condition so far, he has put in 0 damage, or close to less than 100.
On the left, Ram Rider is there. Cage is good. But that's quite a few bodies coming over. I'm not sure if Icelore can properly defend this. He's trying his hardest. Rage is down. Ram Rider gets another 400 damage in. Where is the win condition for Icelore?
The right side is a win condition on his own. Took a whole lot of damage now. Ice Law back in game. Doesn't need to load anything when he's winning. That's the thing. Sado can also, with the Ram Rider, can go left and right. Ooh, the bar will get
3 hits hits in there. 957, just like that. Sado retakes the advantage here. Barrels coming in. Will this Mega Knight get a connection? No, but the Barbarian is going to get one extra hit. It doesn't matter. That right-hand side is fine. And here is the RG. Nothing to distract, nothing to reset that Inferno Dragon, but a hit still got through. 8-7-3 on that tower, and Icelor takes a lead again.
And not as much as Icelor wanted with that RG on rage. I believe just one because the Inferno locks forever. And there's no reset from Icelor.
Spirit's going to get a big jump in there, healing.
Now it is.
Oh, Lightning comes out. And that seems to be go time for Sado down that left-hand side. Will he be able to break through the defenses of Icelor and connect into this tower? Mega Knight connects on the right-hand side, but nothing on the left. And that is the tower that Sado really needs to start laying some pain down on. But a Mega Minion is going to connect on the tower on the left for Sado.
Doesn't matter as much as Sado is pulling triggers to win. There's a bridge spam again. Barbarrel with the cage does come.
Real Spirit heals absolutely nothing here. The Ram Rider is going to get shut down. Bandit dead. Everything cleaned up for Icelor as we enter the last 10 seconds of this game.
And Icelor trying to win this with the Lightning to finish.
It will guarantee it. Poison comes down finally from Sado. Lightning comes down to close it out, and Icelor gets game 2. And you can see from Sado's face, he knows the fate of the team lies in the next game. Remember, if Team Timing lose here, they will have 9 losses. And I think that will be that for them.
Where was this guy this entire season? Stuck in 2v2. Did play a couple, but losses. But he feels like this feels like Icelor that we knew before.
This is the Icelor when he first came out, got a sweep, just destroyed everyone left, right, and center. Sorry, I'm stuck between 2 different things there.
Yeah, he can destroy all the city.
Basically, when he burst onto the scene, he was absolutely phenomenal. And then he kind of dipped a little bit, and we've seen him in and out. Started on Sandbox back in Asia. This looks like a return to form. It looks like Kicks have been hiding him for these situations just to try and get that surprise factor. No real information about him, and I think that was a great decision. This RG,
Lumberjack,
did nothing.
Also got a hit before landing onto the Bandit. Got 1, but that's it. And ever since Icelor just focused on the defense, we knew that, okay, he is just going to save up for that Lightning for that big finish. Yeah, close game for Sado, but at the end, especially when you can have a read against the bridge spam, because you know things are coming towards one side only, it's a lot easier to defend in that regard. You just have to put the cage and make sure it's away from any kind of extra spell, and the final spell was Poison. And Sado not really utilizing that any time because all the cards, you don't really see any type of those small goblins or anything. Baby Dragon, RG, Lumberjack, Poison's useless.
I think he was looking for Icelor to be playing Graveyard. I think that deck he had would have been great against the Graveyard deck, one of the traditional Graveyard decks. Would have been perfect, but unfortunately for Sado, Icelor decided to bring an RG deck where he only ever played 1 RG. 2 RGs. That did nothing. And it is going to be Nuri. The fate of Team Timing lies on the guy who had a super hot start to the season. He was getting wins where no one else on Team Timing was. And hasn't really found that form in the second half of the season. Only losses for Nuri as he has lost to CRS, KK, Jack, and higher in the King of the Hill. Can he turn it around today to save his team?
That's the real question. Is it possible against the best feeling Icelor plus 2 more members of Kick's team? It's probably Benzer and Light.
Yuya could come out too.
Oh, yeah, of course. But I'm guessing Light is in pretty good form. Benzer has been doing a lot better with the motor changes, and especially early season, I think motor stands in can have a lot more possibility.
What's interesting for me is that Mega Minion seems to have been the biggest winner from the last balance changes, because any deck where you, especially today, any deck where you would see a Musketeer, we've seen Mega Minion in its place. So is Mega Minion the true winner of the recent balance changes? We'll continue to find out today, but we're going to get into Game 3 of this King of the Hill, Nuri versus Icelaw. Icelaw looking to get that sweep, Nuri looking to start the reverse sweep and keeping Team Timing's playoff dreams alive here. And it looks like it is going to be Nuri playing Expo.
And Golem.
What a read! All right, this isn't an impossible matchup. It is definitely possible for Icelaw to lose, but it's going to be a very interesting one.
It's not impossible, and Expo can win, but you need to have lots of defensive setup and maybe one pull that's going to connect to the tower.
Nuri could have saved himself a little bit of an elixir there by not playing those archers, but nothing major, especially when you have a very, very cheap cycle, as we all know this Expo deck does.
It also depends on what else that Icelaw has brought. So Night Witch.
Goblin Brawl are going to be out of range. Doesn't matter, the Ice Wizard is there. Just help slow that down. A little bit of a connection here. That's going to be pretty good for Nuri.
Should be about 700. Yeah, Expo Master. Even with that slow, it still did a little too much. And if Baby Dragon's going on the left, if you place the Tesla on the center, it doesn't actually pull it. Forced out the Tesla right before and then going for the Golem.
So Icelaw not building from the back, because as soon as you put a Golem in the back, Expo at the front, the bridge will get a huge connection. So nice little change for Icelaw in the way this Golem deck has been played thus far.
A pretty nice log there from Nuri as he needs maximum damage. And not giving too much chance for Nuri to put down that Expo at all. Icelaw just loading back-to-back Golem at the center.
Well, this is how he's going to win. He's just got to overwhelm Nuri. And it seems that he's doing a pretty good job, but he's just not getting into the tower. He can stop these Expos coming down, but if he cannot get into the towers, then it's not going to matter all too much. He doesn't have Golem in hand, so it's going to rely on the Ice Wizard, on the Barbarian Barrel, on the cage, but another connection comes through, and I think Nuri might just have this one sealed here.
Right before that Night Witch. He has to burn another Lightning. One Golem connection can do some damage, but he has to bring it soon enough.
Nuri has played this Expo deck phenomenally.
Oh, again.
The pressure is just too much. Nuri seems to have done a very difficult task in taking this matchup here. There's a Fireball to finish it off. Icelaw does go down. Nuri takes game 3. Is this the lifeline that Team Timing need to keep themselves in this? Nuri takes his first game. He does take game 3. Expo versus Golem, managing to just exploit the version of Golem that Icelaw decided to bring.
Also, Nuri played it smart, using a lot more Tesla to force out those early Golems. It's pretending like it's going to be Expo put down towards the bridge in the next few seconds. And then it was not. It was also the Lightning version, which allows a lot of these archers to stay alive with those slow drags of the Tesla. It is pretty quick with the cycle of what Nuri has with Skeleton's Ice Spear just jumping back and forth.
Could have been oh so different for Ice Law. It is, I would say, slightly favored to the Golem player, but it depends, obviously, who's feeling better on the day, who has a slightly better starting hand. And it seemed that Nuri was just able to control most of that game, beginning to end.
And I think Ice Law played it right, forcing a lot of golems, and it's actually Nuri being smart, waiting for another turn, pretending like he's never going to put that Expo down until the golem player actually might have a chance. When you have Expo, you just force that position of golem to be there. If you load it towards the King Tower, you basically have to give up the tower and then go for one big push. But I think the time was ticking down relatively soon after that point.
Yeah, well, Nuri is going to be up against Benzer. Benzer versus Nuri should be a pretty good match. Is Benzer going to be bringing Mortar, now that Mortar seems to be 120% back? Is he going to go for something a little bit different? We'll find out very, very soon. So Nuri bringing Expo. That was the last time. Oh, he did lose with that deck to Jack, but does manage to overcome Ice Law. As you can see, the rate's relatively even between these two players. Benzer does tend to streak, though. He does tend to get a couple of wins in a row, a couple of losses in a row. So we'll see what he's going to do this time round. Last few times Benzer has played, he did play the Mortar Miner against Wonga. WEDGM, he did win that one. Against Hire, he did end up losing. He was playing the Royal Giant Skeleton Dragon Musketeer deck that we probably won't see much anymore. And he did play Loon Lombard.
Good chance of Mortar. Two different versions. And also Wallbreaker Miner. I think that's another version that you would love to see. That's the deck that we've been seeing a lot of Magic Archer to be put in. Pretty cheap cycle with just a Bomb Tower, no Mega Knight, but just relying on a lot of Wallbreaker connection and forcing out a card near the tower so that the Magic Archer can get that shot lined up.
So what are we going to see here? Benzeridel in red at the top against Nuri in blue at the bottom.
And Barrel.
Barrel comes out straight away.
Wallbreakers it is.
Yep. So double barrel bait for Nuri. And what's most likely going to be minor wall breakers for Benzer. But unfortunately, he doesn't have the minor in his starting cards.
Yeah, with the Ewis, so might not be the same version with the Valkyrie that we see.
Bomb tower is good from Nuri. A bit of a head shake from Benzer there. Knowing that he's got to try and find a way to play around those bomb towers to try and get in. Are my eyes deceiving me, G-Clef? Is that a knight from Benzeridel?
No, it's a prince.
My eyes were deceiving me. It is a prince indeed. So we don't really see much of the prince.
It will, at least
on its own.
But because of the prince, Nuri does have skeletons and knight, but it might actually, just like what happened right now, force a defensive Goblin Barrel from Nuri at least a couple more times.
Which is phenomenal for Benzer,
Which
because
is
that means
delicious.
He
or
can
even a
save
defensive
those
log
logs.
against the charge. I mean, Nuri's got lots of anti-distractions against the prince, but when it's being paired up with like goblins or offensive log, then he might be in trouble.
And this time Prince and Knight going opposite lanes. There's a deep goblin cage. Log isn't going to be needed, just the goblins to clean that up. And Miner taking that bomb tower damage. Poison comes down to get rid of the Dark Goblin. Now will we see the wall breakers come in? Fireball to take care of the bats. And he got a hit on that tower. The Prince getting that extra damage. 1336 against 1694. Double barrel loaded up on the left-hand side. There's the log. E-Wiz will probably come down to try and stop the skeletons. There we have it. And a little bit more damage coming through on the Miner for Benzer on that right-hand side.
Yeah, Benzer was getting some more damage put in with the goblins. I think he wants to sneak those goblins in a couple more times, along with the bats, if possible.
Here comes the wall breakers. No connection because the skeletons are good. But I think the back got a couple of hits there. 904 on the tower. It's going right for Benzer right now, but one slip up could be the end of that. I mean, Nuri this time, double log. Not even needed. You just had the goblins to distract the goblins from the barrel. And nicely done here. Nuri starting to crack under the pressure that Benzer is applying with this deck.
Still with the skeletons, just a little bit too late. Miner was able to do some more damage. Here, Nuri pairing up perfectly for a log defense for Benzer.
Skeletons do catch the miner this time round.
Bats almost got a hit, but the Dark Goblin to keep everything in a safe spot.
There are just over 80 seconds left of this game. Can Benzer hold on? He is kind of defending from the front, just applying as much pressure as physically possible.
Was incredible by Benzer, but catched again with that bomb tower now. The Goblins gets a stab.
Ooh, and that's bad news bears for Benzer. It's starting to slip. He does have a pretty sizable advantage, though. He can carry this through. This miner's going to get a couple more scratches onto the tower. Log should be coming in. Ewa's at the front. Nothing. There we go. Log at the back. And it doesn't catch the Dark Goblin.
Exactly why Nuri had that barrel all the way in the back. Now this miner with the poison.
Oh, it's lost it.
What? The Ewis came down a little too early, right?
A little too late. Benzer had a huge advantage. He was just winning trade after trade. And Nuri exploited a brief window of opportunity just long enough to take Benzer. Benzer kind of does this a little bit where the longer the game goes, the sloppier the defending becomes. He tried to... Part of me says that he was a little bit too impatient. He kept trying to push those wall breakers in. He kept trying to get all the damage in instead of trying to defend his lead. And I think it ended up costing him.
And these miners did a whole lot. And Goblin here doing some stabs at the bottom. Knight at night, top left to trade.
So it's 317. He drops the... It's that poison as well. Like, he just spends too much elixir. And
yeah, the Ewis had to come down. I guess the next card was the log.
It was looking like Benzer's game. Seriously. And he just let slip. He got a bit too aggressive on that right-hand side and was exploited. He didn't need to put that poison down. He could have just relied on the miner to get a couple of hits. And without the poison, he might have been able to defend his tower, and we'd have seen a different result.
But without the poison, the cycle would have been a little... Was it enough elixir at the time, or was he waiting for the cycle? I think he wasn't waiting for the cycle. I think he was waiting for enough elixir for the log.
If it was...
Ewis and log.
But then... not putting the poison down might have helped that. It's hard to say, like, without seeing exactly what he had at that time. But I feel like the poison might have been just a bit too much of a stretch. And it comes down on the shoulders of Kix's rookie player, Light, again. Light has been a... I don't even want to bring myself to say it. He's been a shining light, a bright star for Kix so far this season. Is he going to be able to eliminate team timing and get Kix a much needed victory? They do need to win all 3 matches to finish second place, so starting now would be great for them.
And they need all sets score possible. So Nuri, he has pulled the team up all the way to this place. Starting from game 3 now into game 5, bringing down Ice Law, Benzer. Now Light, so 1 Expo, 1 double bait, and number 3 from Nuri. If he's going back to his comfortable that he always came clutch, would be the balloon deck that we haven't seen for some time. Sometimes he's being paired up with the lumberjack, or sometimes with recruits.
The last time these two teams met, Light was the one to finish it 4 kicks. Can he do it again? We'll be getting into this one very, very shortly. Nuri at the bottom in blue, Light in red at the top. Team Timing fighting for their tournament survival right now.
Nice spirit.
Light looking to finish it and bring home the first of 3 wins.
Bad news for Light. Nothing's too happy. It might just be.
What are you thinking, G-Clef?
Inferno, I was first thinking graveyard. There are some Inferno with the graveyard with the bomb tower and archers instead of musketeer, even before the balance change. Or one other will be the Valkyrie version, but this time it's a knight.
Yeah, Light isn't looking particularly happy right now. Does he have something to stop this Expo? Bomb tower is there. It is going to connect into the Expo, but a fireball is going to make short work of that. Skeletons have to be used, and it is well dealt with this first time round, but that was very, very expensive on the defense.
Yeah, for both sides, and the winner is Nuri because he was able to put that fireball damage. And that little skeleton tried so hard.
The little skeleton that couldn't.
And yes, it is the graveyard as we thought. It wasn't being played that many times because of Musketeer. But there was a version with the Inferno. Hanging around somewhere around. Some with Dark Prince instead of the Knight.
So we'll see what is going to happen with this one. Can Light find a window of opportunity to get a graveyard down and take a victory? Or will Nuri just control this beginning to end with this Expo deck? The Inferno Dragon is going to go down to the Tesla. It's not looking good right now. Nuri is getting the better of most of these exchanges between the two players.
Expected Expo to be put down on the right. That's why we had the Dragon go down from Light.
Well, this is how Nuri beat Icelow with the Expo, is just the anticipation of where he's going to go with the cards, where he's going to place those Expos. He just subverts expectations time and time again. And it did get him the victory against Icelow. Will it get him the victory against Light?
At least good thing Light does have the poison to do somewhat of direct damage to the Expo and also Bar Barrel. And he's been, without the graveyard, he's been putting most of those poisons now. So off to a not bad cycle.
Can Light exploit Nuri to just open up a point for the graveyard to come down? That is now. Poison is there too. It doesn't catch the archers though. That's kind of bad news for Light. Now they walk into it. The Expo is going to go down to the poison damage as well. And not bad. Not bad for Light on that first graveyard.
Still one more poison was forced on the left, so Light thinking again that, okay, do I actually want to go left or right? As Nuri seems to be having his focus on the right with this many units.
I mean, Nuri is starting to get a little bit overwhelmed by Light right now, and here is a graveyard. Expo is played on the far right. It will get a connection once stuff dies, so Light puts down the archers. Barbarrow is there. That's going to buy just enough time to get rid of it, and he deals with it nicely again. And look at the damage!
Damage from the graveyard on the bottom left. Light, while he was defending against that Expo, the graveyard did so much. Expo connecting into the Knight on the right, which was certainly a lot closer compared to those skeletons.
It was a smart decision putting the archers down in front of the Expo. Even though they go down, it's gonna save your skeletons on that graveyard. And with that advantage, Light just needs to hold on. for another 25 seconds. Can he do it? Bar Barrel comes in right on top of that Expo. Poison is there as well, cleaning up.
Archer's right on top of that poison. I think that is it. Nuri just used way too much elixirs for that defense just now. And with a finishing touch from Light.
Oh, I thought it got a connection there. It actually connects into the Knight. I was like,
that was
could
dropped 5 seconds ago.
There we have it. Light played that flawlessly. Excellent work from him. Closes out the match. Team Timing are out of contention. Kicks start their weekend where they need all 3 wins to make it to second place. They start with the first. That was kind of nerve-wracking for Kicks. Islo looked as though he had it sealed up. Nuri beats him in a Golem. Nuri beat Islo in a Golem versus Expo matchup. Nuri then proceeds to beat Benzer and then almost made it against Light, who managed to just exploit a couple of timings and got the win for him here.
And big moment for Light here. Focus on the right bottom. It connects onto the archers and the barbs, allowing the skeletons to do so much more. And Nuri had a tough time placing those archers because archers, they have to be nearby that Expo and also the Tesla, then which means the poison just gets a lot more value. And in knowing that, Light just dropped the poison immediately every single time.
Yeah, and fully deserved MVP. He got 2 wins in the 2v2, 1 win in the King of the Hill. Kicks take the game. Team Timing are out of contention for the playoffs. We'll be back after a short break with the final game of tonight, Ponos versus Fav. Do not go anywhere. And welcome back, everyone, to Clash Royale League East. We just saw Team Timing unfortunately reach that 9-loss mark, which means they are out of the tournament.
Say goodbye.
Which is weird because they had such a strong start to the season, but unfortunately they couldn't continue that momentum through.
But they have one more match tomorrow, though, against TTG.
Which means...
Aha!
All right, guys, which would mean if Team Timing win that, they drag TTG down with them. What are you doing?
Dragging TTG down.
I mean...
We're not going alone. You better come with us.
It's definitely possible Team Timing could drag TTG down with them. But up next, Ponos versus Fav. Ponos are already gone to Worlds. Their ticket is booked. They are going to be there. They're going to be against Fav, who only need one win this weekend to guarantee playoff positions. A team that was bottom 3 weeks ago. Same with WEDGM, have turned it around, getting their season back on track when it mattered most. And here we are. They're down to this game that if they win, they're in. But Ponos are not easy.
Yeah, they need one win, but against the strongest opponent that never likes to lose.
I mean, it's going to be hard because Ponos have seemed to, like, last week they did seem to have, booked their tickets. They knew they were going to make it, so they kind of relaxed a little bit. They've put out a couple of wonky King of the Hills, where it's not Mookie KK, it's like Yakitori Rad and Reiki.
Ken got it being in there too.
Exactly. So it depends how Ponos are going to approach this game because there is a lot on the line. There is a lot of pride within the Japanese team.
Yes.
So who's #1 Japanese team?
So let's see. How much? I don't think it's going to be 100%. Is it going to be 60%, 70, 80, or around that line? I think that...
I tell you who will bring 100%. Who need to bring 100%.
Moogie? Oh, Fav.
Fav, yeah. Why would Moogie need to put 100% in? Moogie could play with his toes right now and no one would...
I'm pretty sure I can beat Moogie if he plays with toes. Maybe not.
No, I don't think he would, dude. I think the guy just... He hacks himself into the game. But I guarantee we'll see a much the strongest possible showing from Fav. But if they lose this, and they do put the roll in against the Ponos team who have nothing really to play for right now, how will that affect Fav Gaming going through the rest of the weekend? There's so much on the line for Fav. They need this win to guarantee their placement. They do have another chance to get that win. TTG could solve that for them, depending on results.
And I think for Fav, the big question is how much of Kitashan and Kenzumeshi do they actually use in 2v2, 1v1, 2v2 King of the Hill and 1v1?
Well, I mean, you see it there. Jack and Kitashan, 11 and 5. That is where their turnaround started. When they started relying on that pairing, Fav started to do much, much better. Kensumeshi and Kitashian is the 2v2 that we all know. That was the 2v2 we were expecting to be dominant. And look at this, Yakitori Tengard. All right.
So today's 70% power from Ponos, right? That's my guess. And
100%
Jack with Kitashian.
So Jack and Kitashian have been the turning point for Fav Gaming. Second half of the season where things really did turn around for them. They 2-0'd Nova. They 2-0'd TTG. They 2-0'd Team Timing. They 2-0'd Kicks. They only lost 1-2 to WEDGM. I mean, this is a team that has turned it around based on trying something new in their 2v2. Can they continue this run? The bans are NATO, Giant Skeleton.
Pretty common bans as we are back to the Tornado ban from Ponos. This is something you would expect, especially with the Muskie sort of going out the way now with the balance patch. Giant Skeleton is still interesting, which we did not see at all in the first matchup.
Yeah, Graveyard Freeze is still on the table for this one, possibly with Giant. instead of giant skeleton. I mean, it'd be weird, but I mean, graveyard 100% is still viable. Lava Hound is viable. Loon Miner is viable. There are so many different viable opportunities coming into this 2v2 with these two bands. So we'll see what they decide to bring today.
And also, I think higher chances for bait decks.
Are you saying that because it's Japan versus Japan?
Yes. Double the chances.
There it is.
And actually double the baits! Guys, just in case you guys are wondering, we do not see any sort of decks beforehand.
This is pre-recorded. G-Clef saw it before.
That was just a pure guess on my own.
No, but the Japanese region generally do like
yes.
to play bait in 2v2, mainly when they're against each other.
Yeah. In history, they have done that, but not exactly like this. So let's see, still Musketeer. And with that Mega Knight, will provide some more tanking in front.
Mega Knight of their own, so it looks like a complete or near complete mirror matchup between the two teams. So we'll see who can play it the best. And that Dark Goblin getting a lot of value from the back there.
Yeah, even though Musketeer did take the spawn damage, the cone damage from the Mega Knight from Ponos did not take that Musketeer down.
What an activation. Snowball activation in 2v2 against the barrel.
Yeah, that's the reason why Fab going safe hand with those placements. It's barrel, barrel. And the Valkyrie.
Getting a lot more play now.
As if they knew that bait was going to be hand. Also against Graveyard, it's a great tool.
Yep. Well, that's Bomb Tower down. How are they going to stop the Mega Knight? They do have an advantage. They play their own Mega Knight. And due to the positioning, maybe not.
Yeah, the Fisherman came just a little too late, so they do get the jump across. But with King Tower activation, less elixirs to use.
Dark Goblin on the right-hand side is going to get a decent chunk of damage in there as he does. If he connects to a tower, that tower takes a beating.
Ready with the snowball combined with RG though. That's a new combination.
Yeah, that is very, very tricky. And that was also real nice there from Ponos. Barrel, log, barrel is the combination you need to try and get damage in, but it is dealt with 1461 against 1768. Fab just need to kind of get back in the swing of things here.
Now with that RG, Fab has to think twice before dropping those building cards against the Skeleton Barrel.
Fireball against the Goblin Barrel there. 120 seconds, 2 minutes left for the overtime period here. Snowball doesn't catch the one Goblin, and it does get a swipe in there. 1295 against 1412.
So nice fireball there, getting the Dark Goblin. Plus the Fisherman damage. Now the RG slowly crawling in. There's a bomb tower from Fab. Defense is okay with the log. Perfect defense there.
They're going to get the death damage from the barrel. Everything's slowed down. They're going to get quite a few hits on these skeletons. That is huge.
Not just quite a few. That's like 1,000 damage from those skeletons. And that's game.
That was absolutely massive. I think it was the snowball that ended up costing Ponos that tower, because it slowed down the barrel just enough so it didn't drop when everything else was coming in.
It actually twisted the timing of that Mega Knight spawning. It had to drop to block some of the units, and also the Musketeer from locking into the tower. So it had to be dropped, but right after the Skeleton Barrel dropped down. So either Ponos had to save one more spell for those skeletons, or something else to clog up the bridge so that the Musketeer was not a threat to the tower.
I just want to see that one more time, that final exchange there.
Which could have been okay if they had Fisherman, but that was spawned early.
a hunter shot. I think it's around here. So that barrel comes in.
They do get stabbed before going down. And one more shot from RG.
Okay, so I think it's here. They slow
Hunter's
that
there.
down.
And they early snowball.
Yeah, I think it was the snowball pushing it to the side as well, meaning, like, because if it went down on top of the Mega Knight, all the skeletons would have been attacking that, but because it pushed it to the right, that pushed it on the open side of the tower, which allowed those skeletons to get in and get that damage done. A slight mistake from Ponos cost them at the end. Can they tighten up and avoid losing game 2? We'll find out very shortly. It seems like a quick timeout has been called by Ponos. Hopefully Fuji's just going to have a quick word there to, you know, reassure them, tell them it's going to be fine, don't worry about it, this is where it went wrong, don't do it again, kind of thing.
I think this is, for Ponos, it's okay to keep the same mindset, but with less pressure. So it's okay to take this as a practice for playoff. Like, the mindset should be your next step. Of course, you can focus on this 100%, but when the results does not matter as much for the team, preparing for the next step is usually the better way. So I think calling the timeout when you lose a 2v2, I think Ponos will continue to do that in the playoff.
Just to keep the routine going, right? Do you think Tengar and Yakitori are going to go for something a little more off the like a little more off meta that we see in 2v2?
No, I don't think that. I think they'll just stay.
You don't think we're going to see barrel, mirror, clone?
Not anymore. Especially no clone. Especially no clone. And back to Graveyard RG is also good. And was surprised that there was no freeze at all, because it was double bait.
Yeah, but there wasn't RG. I did like the RG move. It was nice.
But with the RG, might have pushed them just a little too farther back with the cost of Elixir in terms of cycle, where the double bait, you're relying on quick cycle, Kid Eye Spirit, the log, and all those cheap cycle, cheap cards to be used. But when you have an RG loaded, locked and loaded, and if it doesn't actually do anything, if it doesn't do any damage to the tower, then it fires back on you heavily.
Well, we're gonna get into game 2 real soon between these two teams. Kitashian having a nice bit of a stretch there. And I guess with that, we're gonna get into this 2v2. What are we gonna see? Are we gonna see more bait? Are we gonna see that graveyard freeze? We'll find out. What do you think? Before it gets in, before we see any cards played.
No baits this time.
No bait.
Graveyard RG, Graveyard Balloon.
Alright, cool. So here we go. 5 Jack and 5 Kitashian in red at the top. Ponos, Tengar and Yakitori in blue at the bottom, and it is double bait. And again, that snowball not catching the full corner, and they take a stab there. They took a stab on the percentage. So same decks from Yakitori and Tengar by the look of it. Something a little bit different from 5 versus 10.
Updated Grandpa Ghost.
That's right, it does have the float mechanic. We'll see if that comes into play, see if it can pass through units, and there is the giant graveyard from Bob Gaming. Nothing into Tara, heal Spirit, heals nothing but Prince. Prince, is that Tara down already? 798.
Might as well say tower down. Less than 800, that's... We haven't seen all the spells from Bob. But a mini P.E.K.K.A, one great tool against that Mega Knight.
I feel like I'm watching a repeat of a game a couple of years ago. Like, this is... Mini P.E.K.K.A? We haven't seen Mini P.E.K.K.A used all too much this season. The Giant Blade at the back, that seems to be the go sign for Ponos, but it just didn't work. Shut down again, this time with the Dark Prince and the Ewis.
With that many anti-skeleton barrel tools from Bob, I think they might be okay.
Pulling that giant right into the bomb tower. It's not going to matter much. It will go down. Prince against Mega Knight. Dragons there in the sky, giving that air support.
And Will goes doing some damage, good enough to get that Dark Goblin out of the way too.
Yeah, the giant actually turning around the Mega Knight, so it's not going to get that damage into
Nice.
the Royal Ghost. And the last three skeletons there getting a good chunk of damage in 303. Poison comes down to help clear that up. Hunter is off the board. Mini P.E.K.K.A. is healed back up. And pretty nicely done here.
No building, but still enough damage with the Mega Mini P.E.K.K.A. and the Princess Tower locked on RG. And Snowball just okay, but the right side, all deleted, waited for that Ewis to drop.
15 seconds. Ponos need to get that tower down. 986 remaining on that one. Can they get it done? It's going to need a miracle. The barrels come in. Arrows take them off the board, and it looks as though Fav Gaming, there we have it. Fav Gaming do 2-0 Ponos' 2v2. Tengod and Yakitori falling to Jack and Katashin. That second game, I really liked what Fav were bringing. The giant graveyard, Prince getting a connection was a bit dodged. We don't usually see that much. Ponos not really defending it too well, but a great game nonetheless.
I don't think it was Ponos having a bad defense. It just had to be the way, that graveyard timing forced the Mega Knight to go back, and the bomb tower with nothing else next to it. Yep, and with the Hunter loaded there on the back, yeah, both of them did not have enough elixir. And Prince is just the right card to sort of chop down that bomb tower easily.
Yeah, look at those three. Last hero, Larry's there, getting the damage in. Poison, good. Does take that Hunter off the board, but you know, Mini P.E.K.K.A. took a shot. It was healed back up with the Heal Spirit. And that tower didn't have much left. 119 Mega Minion was enough to finish it off. And if it wasn't, the Musketeer in the back would have done it anyway. Great 2v2 from Fav Gaming. That is why they have come back this season. Their 2v2 has really improved with Jack and Katashin behind the wheel instead of Katashin and Kensameshi.
Yep, there is another great start for Fav Gaming, but their challenge continues into King of the Hill, and they're going to be facing very likely KK Mugi pair plus one more. Maybe not because Ponos already qualified.
Yeah, we've seen Ponos kind of move away from the Mugi KK stone wall of victory that they've done. They've been trying out people like Tengod, Yakitori, Reiki. I mean, they've been putting other people in there, so I expect that to continue because they're trying to figure out who is going to be in those 1v1 sets when they get to the playoffs. When we get to the play, they're already there. They're already looking at it. But when we get there, who are they going to put out? Are they going to be the champions of East? It's looking likely, let's be real.
Very likely but we are in a new patch, and by the time we play off, I think we will have lots of changes.
Maybe, but look at that. Ponos, 3 members of the top 5, Mugi, Yakitori, and KK. Yakitori has the lowest amount of games played out of those, but it's still, you know, it's still an accomplishment being there. We can see on the side of Fav Gaming that they have, look at that, that's absolutely massive. The increases on their side have been absolutely insane. We are going to start off with Boogie against Expo Master. All right, Ponos are pulling no punches in the King of the Hill.
Yeah, did not imagine this to be the Game 1 matchup. Expo Master from Fav. So, putting some twist in King of the Hill for Fav Gaming also.
We'll see how going to play out.
Day the day Expo Master brings an Expo.
No, come on. We already know he doesn't play it anymore.
That's why it's gonna bite you. Exactly the reason why it bites you on the back. Hey.
Alright, so the last time we saw Expo Master was in a 1v1 set against Higher, where he went down 0-2. His last win was against Nova's AUK and Nuamisa. That was in King of the Hill. So we'll see what he brings now. Will it be Graveyard Mortar Cannon card? Will it be Loon Mega Knight? And on the side of Mugi, we know that Mugi could just play anything, so there's no point trying to guess what he's going to play, because he will play anything and everything and still beat. So the last time he came out was against Nuamisa in a best of 3, and he did a Mugi. He just did a Mugi, he won. So yeah, he won 2-1, and in that one he played Graveyard, he played Ram Rider twice. Which is unusual, we never see Mugi play the same deck twice. And that was the one time he was like, well, it's gonna win. I lost the first game, let's make sure that it wins the second. Right, Expo Master against Mugi.
Oh, Expo against Expo Master. Let's see this happening. Oh yes. That's the Clef getting maximum energy for this many Expo games in one day. And maybe just an RG, which isn't too terribly bad.
Not a guaranteed victory, but
Royal Hogs, RG.
It is crazy how at the beginning of every season, Expo is the deck before the meta settles. Oh, big Heal Spirit there. Fisherman with a 1 slap. 2-3-0-2. Massive advantage for Expo Master.
That actually might be. Just throws out a fireball, says, okay, you do your thing, I do my thing.
Mike gets 2 hits though, 1884. Interesting that we see Skeleton Dragons. I think this is the first time today we've seen them, right? After their balance change?
I think so. Still lots of pros just saying it's still not bad.
Still not bad, but it's not as strong as it was. It's not as dominant as it has been.
Still draws out a fireball. It's still a fireball bait card. Not as strong as before. So Mugi trying some Mugi moves as he...
Oh, here comes the RG and the Tesla is played.
And the fireball's gone, so Dragons do survive.
I mean, let's be real, Mugi is winning this. He's playing Expo, he's winning this and hasn't dropped an Expo yet.
Got 1 in from that RG. Log not pushing RG all the way back because he's pretty heavy.
There we go, first Expo of the match between these two players. Mugi dropping it down as we enter the last 40 seconds of the game. And that RG is shut down.
Mugi will try to force some more. The Archer got a hit into the tower. The Tesla not pulling the RG.
Tried to get the log to pull it over and that worked. Oh, Mugi. Mugi. 8,000 IQ play there with the log.
Yeah, but because of the extra log, ooh. Mugi actually loading immediately on that Expo.
Yep, RG comes down straight away from Expo Master. That's going to close it down. And then we have an RG that's been a little bit hurt. Crossing the river.
And not too bad for Mugi, as we're talking left side. Mugi's forcing RG to be played on the right.
I mean, that's good for Expo Master, right? Because Expo Master can just hold on to this lead.
I think they're both thinking about just having one close fight at towards the end.
fireball coming in from Mugi.
Just naked fireball back to back.
Well, what Mugi has been trying to do is put pressure on the right-hand side and just try and get a couple of crafty spells in on the left with the log, with the fireballs coming in.
Yeah, with some ice spirits too.
We enter the last 53 seconds. RG finally played on the left. There's the tester to bring it across. Heal Spirit is good for Expo Master, but RG does not get to the tower. Another fireball log connects for Mugi, and that gap is closing very quickly here. Can Expo Master finish this up? Heal Spirit's going to be big. RG gets a decent heal, but the Tesla again is distracted. 196 against 304.
So log plus the fireball for Expo Master is going to seal it. Mugi needs to come back big, but not in time.
Expo Master gets game 1. Mugi taking another rare loss here in King of the Hill. But that was such a good game. That was a very, very tactical game between the two players.
Once Mugi made the switch into the right side with the Expo, and Expo Master immediately responding with an RG was the key. And never really slipping. I think Mugi wanted to force some slips of Expo Master, letting go of some Ice Spirits, maybe even some Archer Shot.
Yeah, that one Royal Giant shot there was pretty big. It did give Expo Master a chance to get the lead. And I like that the spell cycle started super, super early between these two. Mugi was trying to sneak it in, make it look as though he wasn't trying to spell cycle with a couple of logs while everything's going on down that right-hand side, but Expo Master was just on top of things and noticed it. By the way, we have played 50 matches. It's week 9 of the season. This is the first time Mugi has recorded 2 losses in a row in King of the Hill. Wow. The first time this season. He did lose to Paradox, and now loses to Expo Master. I mean, is Mugi washed up? That's the question we need to ask. No. But Mugi, like, losing twice in a row is very uncharacteristic of him.
Yep, against an RG. Your Expo, unless the RG player really has a terrible cycle, or off to a terrible starting hand, plus maybe a cycle mistake of playing RG from behind, which you're never supposed to do. Unless that happened, Expo player usually has a very tough time connecting into the Princess Tower. So that was the right call. And Expo Master respecting what those fireballs can do, immediately responded against Mugi and says, "You got a fireball log, I have fireball log."
Exactly, and responding in kind when you're already ahead gives you a massive advantage. And Yakitori is going to be coming out in the second slot here. Yakitori against Expo Master. What are you thinking of this one? Expo Master, do you think he's going to bring
the pump bow?
All right.
And he'll be against the Hog Rider EQ.
Okay, cool. All right, do you think Yakitori's going to bring Graveyard, though? The last 2 times he came out where he got the wins against Lion and Geralt was both with Graveyard Poison.
Yeah, Ice Bow?
What?
Was it? No, not Ice Bow. Ice Graveyard?
No, it was with just Graveyard Poison, Night Musketeer, Skeledrag, Bard Barrel Heal. And then the last 2 changes was Bomb Tower and Cage. So nothing major there. It wasn't the ice version, it was just a very standard Graveyard Poison. He also did beat Blizzard with Mega Knight Blue. So maybe we'll see that. Yakitori kind of kick-started his season a little bit later than everyone else. He's finally started to break in to this King of the Hill set, but I mean, we don't even know. He might have appeared a lot more this season had Mugi and KK not decided to sweep by everyone that came across them.
Today might be a day for Fog, is what I'm feeling after watching the first game from Expo Master. Well, let's see. Expo Master during the season did focus a lot into his bridge spam deck.
He has played a hell of a lot of Royal Giant. He's played some graveyards, but not too many compared to everyone else. He has played the double barrel bait that we do see quite often too. So Expo Master has played a decent amount of decks. He has played. All right, well, it's locked out of existence. Is it double barrel from Expo?
Or we can also have classic Goblin Barrel with the Ice Spirit. Zappies, some potential to our graveyard, and the Royal Hog.
Royal Ghost is trippy played at the back. It just floats through the King Tower. All right.
There was always a ready post.
I know.
Why the Ghost has to go through the bridge?
I mean, it was always like, I think they were supposed to give it float back when Battle Healer was launched, but they delayed it. But that barrel's dealt with nicely with the Hunter. Perfect placement by Yakitori to defend that.
So we're expecting graveyard from Yakitori.
Oh, activating the King Tower with the Hunter there. Okay.
And a cage defense. Good timing by Yakitori.
The Royal Ghost just passing through, standing halfway in that cage. Skarmy from Expo Master. I haven't seen much Skarmy in professional play recently.
Yep. So finally we have the Magic Archer.
Hunter again to answer that.
Yeah, never mind, we're just waiting for that time. You have seen Royal Hogs.
Greatest anime portrayals, that Hunter killing a fisherman. It's just so bad. It's so painful to see the best friends, the ultimate pairing, turn against each other. RG, one shot into the tower, 2026, and there the Hogs come down from Yakitori. And Expo Master doesn't seem to have anything for this. Mega Knight does come down on top.
And it's slowly going to push into the tower now.
Royal Ghost is pulled away. Mega Knight isn't going to get a jump. Zap is going to make sure of that, just resetting him into that cage over and over again. Expo Master loads up on an RG on the right. This is a very mishmashy kind of deck for Expo Master.
Yeah, we've seen it at least a couple of times in this season. Not really being used too many times, but sometimes with the Fisherman, sometimes with the Hunter.
Skarmy is going to help get rid of those Hogs. 10-77 against 15-18. Yakitori carries a lead going into the last 90 seconds. Dark Goblin at the back is going to be deleted by the Zappies. Mega Knight does get a jump off, but is going to be shot.
Yeah, still good enough with the poison. It's always good to chip in some extra damage, as Yakitori does have a pretty quick cycle against the Goblin Barrel. RG, it's not perfect, but Cage is a pretty good response.
It is. Hunter is on the broad side of that RG, so he gets all the damage coming in and poison to delete the Dark Goblin off the board. Again, Yakitori is carrying a pretty sizable lead going into the last minute, but this is triple elixir time. Can Expo Master overwhelm the defenses of Yakitori?
RG getting, not getting one more shot into the tower.
He's getting denied by the Zappies.
And time for the Hogs to run down after the Mega Knight is gone.
Lead Skarmy, and another couple of hits come in. That tower is now on the verge of exactly even on both towers
Exactly
right
even.
now.
893. But a big push with an RG and the bats together now, even with the Goblin Barrel.
There's a lot there. Can this break through? No, it cannot. No spells from Expo Master means he is unable to finish that one, and Yakitori does take game 2.
There's a no spell Goblin Barrel. Used to have Musketeer in it, but without the Musketeer now you can have, it was before was with the Musketeer, either Fisherman or Dark Goblin. Now, without her, you can have both.
Well, Yakitori takes it in pretty convincing style. Expo Master couldn't really get much down. The RGs were shut down time and time again. That's what the Zappies are there for, just to keep resetting it, so it finds it harder and harder to just get a shot in.
Yeah, the Hawks really didn't do too much in this matchup. It was mostly just poison damage.
Couple of hits in there. That was enough to give the advantage to Yakitori. And just continue to build off that. Look at how this RG is shut down.
Yeah, good thing that Yakitori had the Ghost in here for some extra area damage. And because the Ghost actually goes over the river now, you can snipe on those Dark Goblins. And those are the clutch plays that you can have, as Expo Master wasn't really thinking about that play as much. Of course, the pros, they adjust to the new meta, new card changes the quickest. But still sometimes you forget because of all the old habits that you might have.
Yeah, a lot of it is muscle memory and repetition. Like, you know, okay, he's going here, I should put my Dark Goblin here to support it, and you forget that the RG can now just float towards your Dark Goblin and insta wipe it off the board.
Yeah, the other RG, not the Royal Giant.
Oh yeah.
If Royal Giant goes over the
Royal Giant now floats over the river. All right.
Whoa.
But yeah, RG, that's how I know them in my head. Okay, Jack is going to come out in game 3 against Yakitori. So the Royal Ghost floating over the river did kind of catch Expo Master a little off guard. He's not quite used to that interaction yet, it seems. Will Jack make the same mistake?
Off to a not bad start as Fab. They did have the victory over 10 God Yakitori pair in 2v2. And this is a match that Jack should bring. My heart says Jack, but my brain right now is saying Yakitori of how good that he just played against Expo.
Yeah, and the fact that Yakitori this season just kind of came out of nowhere and started just slapping people left and right in 1v1.
I know Yakitori has been a great player on ladder, getting a lot of those trophies, always placing pretty high. With it also, among the team members, he was always like top 3, top 4. But in terms of competitive, not showing the results for the last years. Well, now he's starting to really show signs.
Well, it was the same last special season with Yakitori. Like, I'm just looking through some of my notes. 1v1 set score in overall was 2-1. So he is capable of playing that. I think he only played that during the playoff section of the special season. But in King of the Hill last season, he was 0-2. But he does seem to come online later during the season, like as kind of a flex player. He comes in late in the season and kind of catches teams off guard, where everyone was thinking, okay, it's going to be Mugi, KK, and I don't know, let's say Reiki Jones or someone else in that spot. Yakitori steps in just to catch your opponents off guard.
That's exactly the position. Sort of like Reiki. As Yakitori just stretching before the actual game begins. Oh, game began.
I was going to say, the game has started.
Game began a while ago.
Double elixir period.
Maybe triple elixir period.
I don't think we've seen a wait that long yet.
We've seen few waits until overtime. Or at least like 10 seconds before overtime?
10 seconds into overtime, I think we saw last week. Well, Yakitori is going to start us off with a bar barrel.
Still, we might continue because of that zap being available for Jack, and that gives a lot of hints of what this can be. Lava
Golem.
Lava Miner.
Golem.
There's some Ram decks with zap.
He hasn't played Zap this season, I think. Let me just quickly
There are some Hog Rider decks with the zap too.
It has fallen out of favor considerably, Zap.
Yeah, Zach will be gone when that Electro Spirit comes around.
Maybe. Alright, so it is going to be P.E.K.K.A. I think this is the deck that Jack has been playing on ladder.
Is it the old Battle Ram? The Lumberjack?
It is slightly different, but it is bridge spammy.
Skeleton's actually doing quite a lot of work because it is P.E.K.K.A. Very slow, and I think that was also a Baby Dragon touch.
But P.E.K.K.A. is going to continue barreling down this lane, and Jack just presenting options to Yakitori, making life difficult here. You have to defend one, and he decides to try and defend the right. This balloon is going to get a connection in here, but the tornado is going to make sure that that is a King Tower activation. But another balloon cycled there. Jack just turning screws, putting on this pressure. Will the Rage Double Balloon get to the tower? It does not, but it will now. As one drop does come in. Zap to reset. Still, that's sizable damage getting done.
And also an activation with that tornado. Jack wanted to force maybe one more drop with that rage. Tried it with the zap, was not successful, but still good with the death damage. Is leading by about 300. Yakitori can certainly get some chance using the P.E.K.K.A.
Graveyard here is gonna be good. Jack may have overcommitted a little bit on his push, and these skeletons are stacking up 8-2-1. Just like that, the lead does go to Yakitori.
Zap does help getting those skeletons, but it is not as good as the log where it swoops the entire squad of skeletons. Zap is just instant.
Graveyard, defensive graveyard coming out from Yakitori to just distract that P.E.K.K.A. But this balloon may get to the tower. No, tornado is going to make sure that doesn't happen. Ice Wiz and Baby Dragon will take it down. Lumberjack dies in no man's land. P.E.K.K.A. at the bridge just to stop everything from coming over. And not much damage getting done by the skeletons. Don't forget we do have the King Tower activation as well. And that's just going to make it harder for these graveyards to get a lot of damage in. For the Baby Dragon.
Oh, the balloon on the right. Instant cage. Deleted, but the rage.
It's not going to be enough, but death damage is going to connect. Another graveyard coming in. Jack decides to answer with a balloon here. And it's pulled towards the center. It's looking like this is going to be Yakitori beating Jack. The tornado is... Oh, it's going to be Yakitori getting a second victory here. Jack does go down. 199 difference there between the two towers.
Yeah, this P.E.K.K.A. deck is great. So great against RG decks that are just laying around everywhere right now. But against the graveyard, and Yakitori just made a bet. Does keep the P.E.K.K.A. alive for such a long time that it allows the second P.E.K.K.A. to be loaded on the other side. But P.E.K.K.A.'s not a great defensive tool against those graveyard skeletons.
It's not a good defensive tool either.
It's really
too slow. Anything. I mean, if the spawns are in the defensive favor, you can tank a lot of the skeletons with the P.E.K.K.A. But you know, we just force it so that it's spawning all over the place. Balloon did get a hit. That was huge. Activating that tower.
Yeah, not just activation, the block against the Lumberjack there with the Ice Wizard. Yeah, Yakitori had everything planned.
I mean, just look at the damage coming through here. A couple more spawns. And, that's what gave Yakitori the advantage going into the last few seconds of the game. And after that, it was just kind of basic for Yakitori, the defense. He had every defensive tool he needed. He had the Tornado, the Ice Wizard, and Jack just could not get to the tower again in time. And yeah, Yakitori takes it. Will he be able to get a sweep here?
And who do we have left for FOV Gaming?
Hajime, right? They haven't been using him all too much lately, but I would expect Hajime.
Usually come out. He would usually come out first, from my memories.
I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea putting him out here. I mean, Hajime has recently come off the sweep of WEDGM, but he did lose to Sado. Could be Ken Sameshi. It's going to be Ken Sameshi. I mean, Ken Sameshi came out last time against Kicks, where he got one win against Yuya and lost to Light. Can he build on that today?
Yes, we have Ken Sameshi on the camera. Which deck is he actually going to use? Yakitori. Not really using 100% the same old graveyard decks, but with some changes.
And he looks so lonely in there on his own, but you know, he's doing well. He's got 2 wins under his belt. Can he make it 3? Last time round, he played Giant Miner with the Night Witch, and he played Royal Hog Recruit. So we'll see what he's going to bring against against Yakitori. Yakitori playing pretty well today and looking to get another sweep under his belt. Don't forget, last time Yakitori was in King of the Hill, he did sweep Talon, which is what got him that 6-2 record, 4-2 record. Now he is 6-2, looking to make it 7-2 and bump himself a little bit further up the 1v1 standings for King of the Hill.
We'll just have to see and wait. As Ken Sameshi just love to beat down and use those heavier giant or golem decks.
And don't forget.
Yeah, you can't use him yet.
I got distracted by that emote. Don't forget, if Ponos win this, we do go to the 1v1 set 3. If FOV Gaming win this, they do qualify for the playoffs. Guaranteed. Ponos are already there. Ponos are already at Worlds. FOV Gaming need 1 win this weekend to secure a playoff spot. Might have changed. No, wouldn't have changed because we still have TTG to play. So, yep. FOV Gaming need 1 win to secure a playoff spot. Can Kent Sameshi deliver Game 4 and Game 5 for FOV Gaming? We'll find out. Kent Sameshi last season didn't come out very much. He did play 1 regular season King of the Hill, which he lost, and 2 playoffs where he went 1-1. So he currently has that 1-1 standing right now. And Royal Ghosts coming out here for both players.
Currently, Ghost has been getting some popularity. In fact, with the Zappies, Yakitori might be...
What a fireball to open up a small little avenue for that RG to get a couple of hits in. And here are the hogs from Yakitori. Magic Archer is there to try and do his best. Lumberjack as well, but the stops from that Zappy is going to make that a little bit awkward. And the Magic Archer on the left-hand side getting quite a few hits in too. And we're all even.
A lot more than you thought on the left side from that Magic Archer. Yakitori back to the deck where he faced up against Expo Master.
Work there, it might work now. Ken Sameshi playing, what has he got on the back end of this, G-Clef?
The same Royal Hogs on his own, but with the Magic Archer in this case instead of the Ewiz. Heka.
Sorry, okay, an Inferno Dragon coming down for Ken Sameshi, and with that 1 Zappy there, that's going to reset it into Oblivion. Ewiz is also on top of things here, but Fireball is going to make sure that doesn't happen. But these Royal Hogs on the right-hand side are going to town on that tower, and it is down to 7-9-8. Grand Rider from Ken Tsumeshi coming in here.
Going in, but with the Zap, does not get the charge.
He was just resetting that 14-03 on the bottom right.
Immediate fireball and just go in with the damage to the tower. Puts in within about 4 or 5 fireballs.
Ooh, one extra hit from that RG and the Heal Spirit getting in. Ken Tsumeshi just needs to find a way to better deal with these Royal Hogs because they might just finish the game there with the Magic Archer shot. Yakitori completes a second sweep of the season. That's 6 wins in a row for him.
So, you're saying that Mugi has tossed everything to Yakitori now?
Maybe, because Mugi gets 2 losses in a row. No. Yakitori playing phenomenally today. Ken Tsumeshi just couldn't keep up. With Yakitori's Hogs here, he didn't have as much splash that dealt with it as needed because fireballs were also used to just try and make things make life easier dealing with the P.E.K.K.A. But yeah, too much damage coming in there. And it repeats. Royal Hogs got a lot of damage in another one.
And Yakitori having so many tools to stop those charges. Zappies, 1 Zappies, 2 Ewiz, 3 Log, and also Fireball, if needed.
And that Magic Archer going through the Barbarian into the tower. All right, 1v1 is coming up. Who are you sending out?
I guess for Ponos, Yakitori might actually be okay because they will need him for the playoff. And in terms of experience stacked, Yakitori might be lacking in terms of experience in playoff spot, or even Mugi. Just thinking ahead, but KK seems to be an okay option if they just want to have a win.
Just to keep him nice and
because
nice and flexed.
And I'm sure he did not get to play from King of the Hill, but I'm pretty sure KK was waiting on the 3rd spot.
Could we see Tengod, Raiki, or Rad in that spot?
Maybe Raiki.
I mean, they haven't, to be fair,
it's hard.
Ponos haven't had to go to this 1v1 spot very often this season, and all 3 times they have, which was against Talon, Kicks, and TTG, Mugi came out to just clean up the show. So bringing him out here makes sense on what we've seen, but knowing you're going into the playoffs soon, maybe you want to try someone else in a 1v1 best of 3 set so that you're prepared. On Fav Gaming side, do you send Jack, Expo Master, Hajime?
Expo Master, I think, is the best right now, not just because he got 1 win, but in terms of the meta and how it fits, that's hard. Because Hajime hasn't been showing up as much. Maybe they have him dedicated for that 3rd set, not giving him too much stress about the King of the Hill.
And as you can see, all negative records on the side of Fav Gaming when they reach this 1v1 set. Jack came out against Nuri in the first half of the season, went 0-2. Expo Master went 2-1. He did actually get a win against Higher, but then went 0-2 against Numisa and 0-2 against Higher. Hajime went 1-2, 1-2 against Benzer and Little Chen. And it is going to be Jack against Mugi. Right, gloves are off. Best of 3 between 2 of the best Japanese pros. I think I saw a record that between the 2 of them, they have a considerable amount of top 100 finishes.
What is it? 1,268 games, 1,268 ties in between the 2. Or 634 wins for Mugi, 634 wins for Jack.
Well, you think that balanced? It was more like in terms of top 10 finishes, I think. I think between the two of them, they got 90% of the Japanese top 10s or something like that. But yeah, Mugi and Jack are two of the greatest Japanese players. Mugi burst onto this CRL scene this year, this season, and has set the scene alight. Jack set the scene alight a couple of years ago when he first joined and has kind of cooled off a little bit here and there, but he still has it every now and then. Will he have it against Mugi? This is going to be an absolute show of sheer force between the two teams as Mugi Ponos goes against Fav Gaming's Jack. And they haven't played each other this season.
Let's
CRL.
see how this final match unfolds.
And it is going to be Hog Rider, maybe on both sides.
Yeah, Mugi with the Hog Rider, and because we see the bomb tower. Bomb tower, Graveyard Hog Rider, and some Royal Hogs.
This is the most emotes I think we've ever seen in a match between two players. They know each other very, very well.
Musketeer? Balloon Miner? If Jack wants to play...
Baby Dragon, Skeletons to deal with Dog Rider. It is going to get one hit in.
He's going Graveyard.
Graveyard. Baby Dragon on the left-hand side, though, is very healthy. The Inferno Tower will take care of that. Not much damage coming in.
Graveyard does close to nothing. The emotes has been doing a lot of damage so far. Ooh, allows 2 hit.
Quite a lot of psychic damage getting done right now. Oh, EQ. Read perfectly by Mugi, but doesn't matter. The Hog Rider is going to be shut down. The anger is real between these two.
It's a lot of taps into emotes. And
look, the emote deck is the second most important deck, all right?
You need to call timeouts for that.
Pause the game, lads. All right, so Hog Rider going down the left-hand side. Bomb Tower is there again. No EQ to meet it this time round. Mugi decided to keep that in his hand for now. Baby Dragon into the Inferno Tower. Baby Dragon will obviously fail to that.
Yes, I think Mugi, instead of playing Hog EQ, just wanted to get EQ. It will save Elixir by doing that.
There's the Hog Rider going down the center. Nothing really to deal with it this time. The Baby Dragon is distracted. Bar Barrel comes in, 1478 on that tower. A couple skeletons from the graveyard do survive long enough just to make themselves known. Bit of a nuisance, got a couple of hits in there. And still, the emotes are flying between these two.
Locking onto Inferno, nicely done. So the bridge is sort of clumped up for what could have been a graveyard timing.
Still could be, with the poison value there for Jack is pretty tasty indeed. There's a Hog Rider. Going to cross over. Good log by Mugi, knowing that the skeletons have been the answer time and time again for these Hog Riders. So the log coming down to just delete those off the board just makes it so much harder for Jack to defend that hog. And here is a graveyard. It's going to come down before the knight crosses the bridge.
Needs a massive push, but the archers just getting into the poison will help Mugi to clean this up nicely.
One again. This needs to get big connection. Mugi has no real elixir to shout about right now.
And Jack needs to push it right now, or else he's done in 2 earthquakes.
And that's still a lot of bodies coming over. This might be it. The poison comes down. It is eventually dealt with, and that might be that. Mugi might just be able to hog at the bridge and get the victory here. There's the first EQ.
Snowball.
And there we have it. Jack does fall in game 1. Mugi takes it. It was looking pretty good for Jack in that one big push towards the end with the graveyard coming down. There was a Barbarian, Musketeer, and a Knight in that ball. But unfortunately, Mugi is just too damn good.
the graveyard. There, I think Jack just pulled his best. But with the Musketeer getting nerfed, it makes it easier for the Hog Rider to get its initial hit.
Yeah, and I mean, Mugi was waiting every time for that defensive cluster to be locked onto something else before slapping down the Hog Rider underneath, so they have to turn around to go and attack that. The graveyard looked good. This is decent, like a decent idea for a push, but the log was just a bit too much. Skeleton's distracting last second. And from there, it was all Mugi, Snowball. Hog got a hit as well, just to make it worse. The log would have finished it regardless. I mean, Mugi's just too good.
And the emote battle was real.
Yeah, I think there was more emotes played during this one match than there have been all season.
Maybe.
I think that's the stat that we need.
Yeah, before going to double elixir time, there's a lot of weight even if you're playing some of those cards. And I think that's exactly the reason why. And especially Ponos, they're taking this one lightly, of course. From Japan, I'm sure those two players did run into each other, scrimmed against a lot.
Did you say that Mugi was taking this lightly? I don't think he's taking it lightly.
That's why he took damage to the tower. Unless like if he took it 100% seriously.
Mugi was just Mugi wanted a challenge. He was just like, all right, I'll let you do some damage to my tower, but after that, I'm just going to shut you down. No, it has been a game, and I mean, they're both stalwarts of the Japanese region, so they have played each other a million times. They've probably scrimmed against each other. They've probably battled in local tournaments against each other. I mean, they just know each other really well, and that's why they emote against each other. I think Japanese players don't tend to emote unless they're comfortable with the opponent.
Yeah, they do like to keep it mannered, but of course, I'm pretty sure they're good friends. And just by the fact bringing Hog Rider deck against Jack, it makes Jack use an emote at least once.
Bringing Hog EQ against
How
Jack.
dare
when he's
you?
not got it, yeah.
How dare you bring Hog EQ against me?
Well, we're going into game 2. This could be the final game. Ponos could take it if Mugi wins game 2 of set 3 1v1.
Okay, Bob did ask for a timeout just now.
Oh.
The reason why we were on camera for a second.
Well, Jack needs to win this to bring home the bacon for Fab Gaming and guarantee their qualification early on in the weekend for those playoffs. It's a bit difficult when you have to, carry on. The pressure gets real when you start seeing results around your team. Other teams guaranteeing their place, and then, by the time you play, there's one spot left and there's a lot of pressure on that. So getting it sorted early, guaranteeing those playoff positions as early as possible is super important.
Fist bumps all around for Bob Gaming.
Jack looks a little bit shaken.
He needs 2 in a row against Mugi.
I mean, if anyone can do it, Jack at his peak can. But Jack is a little bit streaky. He'll get a couple of wins here and there, and then he'll go on a bit of a losing streak. We'll see if he's going to be able to clean up here. And the emotes already starting. Skeletons cycled at the back for Mugi.
Again,
Hog
Hog.
again.
And Expo.
Oh, Tesla does appear in a few decks.
There is also a Hog deck with Tesla.
Ooh, Miner. Okay. Miner Tesla. Miner is caught, hence the this is fine emote. This is going to be Balloon Miner. Oh, it is Miner Wall Breakers with a Tesla to distract. The Hog Rider is going to be pulled into the center. One Skeleton tries to help out as much as possible, but unfortunately is deleted by the Archer. And well played coming out from Mugi.
Extremely cheap cycle Miner Wall Breakers from Jack. Yeah, not catching the miner here with the knight. Tesla certainly a real good building against the Hog.
Okay, the miners have to connect nearly every time for Jack, because he's going to find it hard for these wall breakers to break through with just how cheap and how quick Mugi can get around to those archers, to that snowball, to those logs. So Jack has to be kind of on the offensive here. He's the one who has to try and make things work with the miner, with the wall breakers. The wall breakers are going to find it hard to connect ever. So it's all on the miner.
Because of Skeleton's log and the bomb tower. Ready from Mugi's side, and Hog is sealed with that single building.
Yeah, Mugi decided to let the one wall breaker go on the left-hand side.
Which is okay, you don't want to go all the way too far. You play 2 cards.
A little more damage sneaking through here. 2294, 2209. Mugi does have a bit of an advantage. Wall breakers this time played at the back. Miner is not caught. The bomb tower is going to help with snowball there just to push that miner into the bomb tower, turning him around.
And Hog didn't do a thing against that Tesla, locked immediately near the bridge. And it'll start to chip. The poison damage did do its job. Miner not as much.
Comes down as well just to delete the archer and the bomb tower. Hog Rider is shut down. A couple of hits gonna come in on that right hand side from the one archer. 2181. Has Jack got this in the bag? Tesla again gonna easily handle the Hog Rider EQ, though. It is gonna be a pain.
Because that was a switch into the right now. Sort of evening up the HP on top, off by 55. And Jack has been just mostly focusing on the left. Now Mugi putting EQ log.
Mugi once again taking the slightest of leads here. Skeletons played at the back in preparation of that miner. Was a little bit too early. And the miner does manage to get quite a few good hits in there. 13-21, but the Hog Rider on the right-hand side does get a connection with the EQ as well.
2 hits from the Hog Rider. And the EQ is going to actually keep him in the lead.
This poison miner is going to give him, Jack a slight advantage, but the EQ comes in. The Hog Rider does not get a hit. Ewis is strong enough. Poison comes down already, and the snowball misses the miner. More damage coming in. The wall breakers.
They will connect.
And that is that one slight error on the side of Mugi, and Jack takes game 2.
That quick cycle wall breaker miner deck. You slip once, you are out of there. Mugi tried to push aggressively with that snowball, providing at least 2 hits. Hog with that EQ. Caught him back in game, and also a slight lead, about 20 HP lead. But Jack, after knowing that, had just pulled the miner all the way in the back, and this wall breaker is saying, okay, you can get the skeletons, but I'm going to poison you every single time. 1, 2.
So that was kind of the turning point. I think that's where Jack was like, all right, time to start playing for reals is now. Because like he started to shut down those hogs, and the miners stopped getting caught. That snowball miss was huge. And right there, he logs on the right. Nothing to stop the wall breakers on the left. And that was Murder, She Wrote.
Mugi not having the second game. He almost brought it back with a snowball. This time not putting out that many EQ on his own. Certainly missed opportunities there. I think he wanted to show better moments directly with the Hog Rider, since there was way too many Tesla being used by Jack, which was the right choice in this case.
Yeah, 100% the right choice. Just This game is so close between these two players. It's really hard. Like, Jack bringing the Tesla was a nice move away from something like the bomb tower. It dealt with the Hog Rider flawlessly time and time again. Mugi started to try and get a little bit too clever on his minor catches. He was putting down skeletons a little bit too early. He started to move things around that maybe shouldn't have. A couple of the spells he tried to predict and didn't work. And he got punished for those slight changes done in his gameplay. If he was a little bit more reactive, knowing exactly when that mine is coming down before putting those skeletons in, may have been different. Game 3 is shortly upon us, and it seems a timeout has been called again.
Just final talks right before we jump into the last game.
Yeah, no timeouts.
Ponos, they did use their timeout for 2v2.
Yep.
Let's see what the decks are for Jack and Mugi. Fob. Remember, Fob Gaming, they need a win. Doesn't matter which match. But this match would be lovely as to be known as the other team to bring Ponos down.
One of the 3 teams this season. Ponos have lost to TTG Nova, and now they're on the brink of losing to Fob Gaming. And RG does come out for Mugi. Is it going to be Hog EQ for Jack this time round? Is Jack going to be like, all right, you had your fun, now let me show you how you play it?
With the EQ, you can't really imagine anything else. Sometimes with ramp, but this combination does call for a Hog.
There it is. The Hog Rider going down the right is going to be met with a cage. All up in his grill. The Brawler is going to be enough to just shut that down. No damage getting done from that Hog Rider.
So easy defense with the cage. But when that EQ hits, the Hog Rider will reach the tower and get 1. So with the snowball.
A nice snowball just to push the E-Wiz into the night, just to make sure that it is going to get taken out. Now RG cycled at the back for Mugi. The RG at the back, do you think it's kind of Mugi tempting Jack to put down the Hog Rider?
RG in the front would definitely load a Hog Rider from Jack, so I think that's safer. This is a safer move for Mugi.
Baby Dragon's going to get some damage. Snowball in there, but still another one of those fiery balls from the Baby Dragon. 2, 1, 3, 5, and there you go. There is the Hog Rider coming down the right-hand side. No cage this time round. Fisherman to activate the King Tower, though, is going to make life a little bit more difficult for Jack.
Just a little bit, so he has to rely a lot more on the EQ damage now. That's pretty good placement. Lightning is the spell.
Yeah, and that just deletes the bomb tower, so this RG can go to town. At 1363, it looks like Mugi is gonna deny Fob Gaming the guaranteed playoff place today. But Jack can turn it around. EQ comes down, the Hog Rider is gonna get 1 hit into the tower. It goes 1682.
Yes, Jack needs a massive cycle with the EQ and a few more Hog Rider hits. And the right side has to be dealt with the skeletons. It's about even as the left side now with that Brawler reaching so much damage.
And the E-Wiz and the cage just stop that Hog dead, and RG at the bridge. Heal Spirit is behind, but Heal Spirit pops off into absolutely nothing but another hit, and that is a very healthy RG. The bomb tower doesn't push it back, and that is that. You can see on Jack's face, he knows that it is over for him here. And Mugi will probably close this out with the lightning. And unless Jack can perform miracles, Mugi has it.
Hulk Rider comes, but the cage away from that EQ.
Trying everything. If Mugi can get back to that lightning, it is over. But will Mugi toy with his prey? The answer is no. The Archer's slightly too slow to eat that lightning, and Mugi takes game 3. Ponos get another win on the board and deny their local rivals guaranteed playoff positioning just for today. Great performance by Ponos. Great performance by Fav too. Like, if you'd have looked at this matchup 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, you would have said that Ponos would have walked it.
Yeah, 2-0, maybe even a 5-0 in game score.
But they have turned around. They have pulled this show back on the road for them. They are 1 win away from playoffs, but they're not going to get it. Ponos are now 11-2 on the season. And these RGs, just too much. The bomb tower not pushing that RG back was just all too much, and the Archers came down a little bit too slow. And today's MVP, Yakitori, 3 wins and 2 losses. 2 losses obviously being in that 2v2 set. The 3 wins coming as he swept aside Fav Gaming in the King of the Hill. That's it for today. That's the 2 matches we have. Tomorrow we're going to have 3. Back to normal tomorrow.
And tomorrow the big news is, I think the biggest, or 2 big plays. Everything's pretty big, but one is TTG, can they survive and escape that bottom spot? And
actually, yeah, every team could qualify for playoffs.
Except for team timing.
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow, yes.
So after tomorrow, everything could be solved in terms of who's going into playoffs. Just the seeding will matter. Because if TTG lose to team timing, TTG, they're gone. Everyone else remains.
And
then there's the battle for second.
And there's also Fav, who's playing Kicks. Can Kicks get that 3 in a row victory?
Well, they need it. They need all 3 wins. And then the last game of the season will be Nova and WEDGM. And if Nova lose that, Kicks win all 3 of their games. Kicks go second.
So lots of chances for all the other teams getting the second place. And Nova, because they did play 13 matches last week.
Yeah, so they have 1 game left, and that is Sunday night last match. WEDGM can finish second, but they have to 2-0 Talent and Nova, and Kicks has to lose one of their matches. So everything on the line for that second place. The battle for qualification is still on, but that could all be solved. And just to confirm today's results, timing 0-2 and against Kicks, and Ponos beat Fav 2-1.
Yep, updated standing here. As team timing at the bottom now, TTG has a chance up against team timing. Unfortunately, tomorrow that's the bottom 2 going against each other.
They're not 100% out, I don't think.
Who, team timing?
Yeah.
They are. I think because of the set score, they are basically out.
Essentially, yeah. Okay. Tomorrow could be the deciding game for a lot of teams, and leaving your fate in the hands of other teams is always a bit weird feeling. I know from playing football, you probably know from just playing esports. It's one of those things that just doesn't feel comfortable when your destiny is in someone else's hands. But join us tomorrow for a ton of great games, deciding games, teams battling to get second place, teams battling to make playoffs, teams battling for seeds.
2 more days.
So much on the line this weekend. Make sure you join us tomorrow, same time as always. We'll see you next time.